Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi Outs here. I'm a little early. It's Monday, and the Raptors lost to the Sixers yesterday, getting swept by the Philadelphia 76ers for the first time in franchise history. Honestly, that's crazy. That sounds crazy, but every single year in the NBA, the Raptors have beaten the Sixers until this year. Yeah, like at least one game. That sucks. I came on early because I want to just get the stream over with. Honestly, it is the 1st of April. It is Easter Monday. It is also the 1st of April. Just so y'all know, check all the things you read first. All right, let me just start with the comments. I don't even. I've got a really angry thing to talk about today. We'll talk about it soon, but let's just get in the comments first. We got Trevor J first. Good morning, Raptors family. We fight back onto the next one. Let's go. That's right. We no rest. We got to keep going. We've got 8 more games for the season. The beats are Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Boom, we're done. So we've got 2 more back-to-backs, which is crazy still. Starting with the Lakers tomorrow, with the Timberwolves on Wednesday. Play the Lakers here, and then travel and play the other team afterwards the next night. Both our back-to-backs include leaving Toronto through Pearson and Customs to go to the States to go to these other games. Now, I want to say this. The Raptors' record for most losses in a season, or most losses in a row, and a losing streak is 17. And well, the game, when we have 16 losses, if we lose all the way to this point, the 17th game will be the Wizards game. And that game needs to be won, is what I'm saying. If not, well, we're going to get like a 21 game losing streak to end this season. And it'll be the longest losing streak in the history of the Raptors franchise. So it's y'all's choice, franchise, right now. Maybe some of y'all come back and be a little healthy. You know, I expect RJ and Emmanuel to show up at some point, right? So maybe we could win this Washington game just to break the streak. And y'all don't want to be a part of franchise history in the wrong way, is what I'm saying. So, yeah, it's so annoying. This season is very, very annoying for sure. All right, Trevor, let's do the classic card of the day. Let's see. We got enough people here. I don't care. Either way. First one to write it in, full name, gets 100 points added to the Raptor Freak trivia score. So, yeah, make sure you write it correctly. Okay, this is fun. This is fun. All right, I don't know which side I should show you guys. I'll show you the front side. I have to hold it strategically because of where the name is. All right, first person to answer gets 100 points added to their trivia score. Coming up on the side here, let's see who gets it first. Ooh, there's a person there. You can see him. He's wearing a Hawks jersey. But can you know who it is? Oh, there's the years too, 92 to 93 on the Hawks. Who is that? Who's that? 0%. 0%. I don't know what that means, Chris. All right, who's got the answer here? Who knows who that player is? 50 Cent? That is not 50 Cent. I don't know. Maybe he looked a little bit like him. Probably not, though. All right, is Smooth here to get it? Is somebody else going to get it? I could tell y'all that this guy is infamous because of his name. His name is the original name of Pearl Jam. I don't know if anybody will get that from that. Pearl Jam named their band after this guy originally. That's a crazy thing. It's like nobody. I don't know if a lot of people know that the band Pearl Jam. Oh, I'm still alive. Yeah, their band name was named after this guy that's on this card right now. So that could give it away right there. Spud Webb is wrong, Mike. It's the right jersey, but that man is a lot bigger than Spud. Yeah, that's a good guess. Spud Webb. Yeah, Smooth says, geez, I forgot the name. I know who it is, though. Well, if you know who it is, Smooth, just say who it is then. Oh, my gosh. That's right. This guy is the original name of Pearl Jam. Let's see if anybody gets it. Jeremy Spoken class today. Woo, woo, woo. Okay, you got the first part. Get the rest of it, Chris. There you go. Chris got it today. That is Mookie Blaylock, guys. That is the original name of the band Pearl Jam. They toured as the band Mookie Blaylock in the beginning. That is Mookie Blaylock, guys. That is right. Good job, Chris. I'd like to see somebody else getting the classic card today. That is Mookie Blaylock. Yeah, good job. Good job. Here he is on the back. Let's see the back of the card. Yeah, you see Mookie Blaylock a little bit. I don't know. That looks like 50 Cent to me, but yeah, Mookie was a underrated guard in the league. He's similar to Derek Harper, who we had this week. A very good playmaker and steals guy, and was very, very respected in his time. Yeah, and Pearl Jam wanted to name their band after him, Mookie Blaylock. That's right. There you go. Classic car of the day. Good job, Chris. Chris getting the classic car of the day. Well, yeah, the music clue gave it away for sure, for sure, for sure. All right, let's talk about something real quick. Trevor J is saying Coloco's speaking out for the first time. Yes, guys. Christian Coloco has broken his silence recently and said he is ready to come back and play in the NBA, and he'll be ready to play for the Raptors tomorrow, guys, against the Lakers. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that great? Yeah, I wish it was true. That's an April Fool's joke, y'all. Honestly, the truth about Coloco is not as good as that. That's horrible. Horrible news coming out of Coloco's mouth in February. Trevor J sharing an article from the Tucson newspaper that we didn't see until yesterday, where I would have talked about this on the stream already. I think most of the mainstream press haven't really talked about it much either. They're glossing over it. But the situation with Christian Coloco is absolutely angering, very, very, very infuriating for Raptors fans. Now, let's do a little timeline of things. All right, what happened? Well, we drafted a guy in the second round a couple of years ago named Christian Coloco out of Arizona. He was from the same city of one of our players, Pascal Siakam, Cameroonian. Came into our team last year and was his rookie year, and Nick Nurse was our coach. Now, the representation of Nick Nurse is clutch. The representation of Fred was clutch, is clutch still. The representation of Christian Coloco is clutch also. Now, in the year of Nick coaching the rookie of Christian Coloco, there was a lot of mishandling of his time on the team. He was not playing as much as I would have liked. I know a lot of people said that the first year that Christian played as a rookie on the Raptors, that why wasn't he playing more? There were a lot of DMPs. There was a lot of like putting him on the bench and stashing him away. We know Nick was trying to win as much as possible and overplay his starters and do all kinds of stuff. And this was a detriment to people like Christian Coloco and Delano Banton. And well, I also didn't agree with how they switched Coloco to and from the 905 team. I felt like he missed out on some good development playing on 905 more than he actually did. He barely played down there. He played down there maybe 1 or 2 games. There was just a general mishandling of Christian Coloco in general. Now, I think the coach is in charge of the comings and goings between the 905 and the G League in the regular league. That Darko very much was showing a fluid motion between the two rosters this year, where it made sense to have certain people coming and going in different ways. They managed it way, way better, and Grady's good evidence of that. Now, the last year Nick coached us, he was sabotaging our team in all kinds of weird ways. And I didn't even realize this, that he had the foresight to fuck up Coloco's rookie year before he left, because he knew he was trying to fuck shit up on his way out. And well, this is the crazy thing. Now, Nick does what he does at the end of the season. We know that Philadelphia press conference where he put the cart before the horse. And he started talking about he needed a vacation. He needs some days off to think about 10 years with the Raptors and what his future brings. And then he said, afterwards, he said, yeah, and I do want to try and win the play-in. Well, motherfucker, you put it out of order and you did a little media trick. And I know this is a clutch trick. This is a trick. He did this shit on purpose to get himself fired, to get himself out of there. And I'm pretty sure Rich Paul uses this technique around clutch clients to manipulate situations to outcomes by using media savvy, by saying things certain ways in interviews. Well, Coloco's done a Nick Nurse now, guys, and I'm pissed off. I am so pissed off about this. Now, all right, continuing the saga of Coloco. Nick, he leaves, he gets fired, he gets hired by the Sixers almost immediately, honestly. Just like the scheme that Rich Paul and Daryl Morey had, that they planted while Nick was still under contract with the Raptors as a coach and was supposed to be our coach of the future. There was malfeasance and tampering for sure with Nick Nurse. Well, it goes even further than this. Think about this. I do not trust Clutch or Rich Paul in any kind of way at this point. Why should we? He's done dirty business with Masai and Bobby and the guys in the front office. And fuck them. As soon as Nick goes the other team, and we're in summer league. All of a sudden, Coloco can't play for some weird reason. Now, I don't know the real health issues with Coloco. I don't understand the respiratory illness that he had last year in the summer that turned into a blood clot issue in the fall. Could this be prefabricated, manufactured bullshit by Clutch and Rich Paul? Could Rich Paul be paying a doctor or an expert to do some crazy ass bullshit so that it goes to the NBA competition committee, would say you medically are not cleared to play in the NBA right now? Do you figure out some sort of weird ass loophole way to dislodge our second round center that was supposed to be a part of our future off of our team in a really shady, fucked up way? I'm going to say yes. That because of Coloco's situation, things happened really weird at the beginning of the year. Whereas we didn't have him available. He was just mysteriously not available. And we had no answers for the longest time. The teammates on his team didn't even know. They asked Chris Boucher one day, and he said, I have no idea what's going on with Christian. This is weird. Well, at some point in the beginning of the season, the Raptors were forced to make a tough decision by the NBA, or the NBA just fucking came in and said, no, he's not your property anymore. I'm not totally sure how this worked out. To me, Christian Coloco should have been allowed to be like Chet Holmgren or somebody like that before, other rookies and other players that had get hurt and they go on a medical exemption for a year. You know, we talked about this in the beginning of the year. It was like, why doesn't Bobby and Masai get a medical exemption and get some salary cap money for his absence and all this stuff? I thought maybe it's because he was a second round pick and it's a different tier. Now, I don't understand this. I do not understand what the fuck happened with Christian in the last year. Something really crazy and shady has happened, honestly, because at this point, what has happened is he has no rights. We don't have any rights to him in Toronto at this point. He is absolutely a unrestricted free agent if he is healthy and he can play again in the league. Now, I don't know if the league had said, well, he can't play. He's not medically cleared. Why the fuck did we lose his rights? It seems like very fishy and biased and messed up that the Raptors would lose the rights to their second round pick, not even like 2 years ago, all of a sudden, like in shady ass shit. I feel like this is Rich Paul finagling some ass fucking crazy way to get Christian out of Toronto. That he's on a rookie contract. He would retain his rights. Masai valued him and wanted him on this team. It was going to work out. It's just that this mystery ailment got in the way of things, right? Well, what if this mystery ailment was a ploy to do some fucked up shit by Rich Paul and Clutch, is what I'm saying, guys. Because it seems like what's happened is because of his status and because we couldn't do a medical exemption, I'm not even sure. I know Masai values Christian Coloco, and he wouldn't just let him slip between his fingers. He would do whatever he can to keep him. In fact, Masai said in his interview this middle of the season around the trade deadline, a couple things that are very telling to me at this point. He said, I guess I failed with Christian, and he's in the NBA's hands now. That the NBA jurisdicts what's going to happen with Christian Coloco because of his health issues at this point. I don't understand how this got to this point. Like, if we were the ones who drafted him, shouldn't we have rights to him to have him come back when he's healthy again? No, that's not the logical thing that's happening here. That's not what is happening here. Mike's here today, so maybe he can understand the rules of all this or go and do some research or figure this out, exactly this mystery I'm describing right now. Because at some point in this medical problem that he had, the NBA said the Raptors do not have rights to Christian Coloco any longer. I don't think it's because Masai didn't do anything to his due diligence. We know he valued him, so he would do everything he could possibly do to control this situation. Would this be weird and shady as fuck if all of a sudden Christian this summer started being healthy and was able to participate in the NBA? What it'd be shady and weird as fuck if he turned around and signed with the Miami Heat or the Los Angeles Lakers or the Phoenix Suns or the Philadelphia 76ers. Yeah. And it wouldn't be right if you ask me, honestly. It wouldn't be right. It would be unfair. And I would think that some sort of weird bias towards the Raptors was in effect by the NBA with the way that we lost Christian Coloco. It's so screwy. And you're going to wonder, why are you so mad, Lex? He's just hurt and he didn't do anything wrong. Well, he did an interview with the Tucson newspaper in Arizona around when he got Ring of Honor with the Arizona Wildcats, his alma mater in Arizona. And I'm going to quote Christian directly from that article, and you tell me if he didn't pull a Nick Nurse from last year in the press conference. This is what he said, and this is him verbatim, guys. Christian said he's still in the NBA fitness to play program, but I'm progressing. He said if Koloko is cleared by the fitness to play panel and ruled medically able to and medically fit to perform his duties as a basketball player, he's free to sign with any NBA team. So he is an unrestricted free agent all of a sudden. I do not understand how this worked or how this happened or how this came out to this end. And Koloko, what the fuck, man? Like, what is this? It obviously was manipulated to get this situation. Seriously. This is what he said. I'll continue. He said, I'm a free agent. These are Koloko's own words, guys, that he said to an interview. I'm a free agent, so I'm just at home and seeing the doctors. And whenever I get cleared, which he expects to be cleared, this doesn't sound like this is a lifetime issue that's going to keep him out of the league forever, guys. I'm going to find a new team. This is what he said. He didn't say I'm coming back to the Raptors. He didn't say, anything other than I'm going to find a new team. A new team means not the Raptors. So he has no intention to come back to us. And Koloko said, wherever it is, I'm going to make it my new home. It's been amazing being the NBA. The NBA is the best league in the world, and you can't get any better than that. I'm grateful and thankful to be in that league. What the fuck? Like, this dude honestly has designs on wanting to go to another team and not come back to the Raptors. If he said he wants a new home and he's going to be going to a new team, he said those words. Oh, and then afterwards, some reporter said, well, would you go back to Toronto? This is what he said afterwards. And this is where I'm saying he did the Nick Nurse trick. It's like an afterthought after the other part. It tells you his true intention. And this is a Rich Paul media savvy trick. He said afterwards, no, never say never. He wouldn't rule out coming back to the Raptors. I don't know what the future holds. I would be back with the Raptors in the future. Maybe not. I love my time with the Raptors. They believed in me. They drafted me. I'm thankful for them supporting me. I just don't understand this. How did we lose the rights to our second round pick within 2 years of him being in the league? Like, just because of some medical fitness to play panel that just said, oh, the Raptors, you don't get rights to him anymore. Is it because we did something with the salary cap, Mike? Is it because we had to cut him for salary purposes and Masai made that decision? I don't understand this. In some ways, look, I like you, Christian. You seem like a nice young man, and I was really hoping you'd be a future of ours, but it doesn't sound like you intend that to be, or Rich Paul doesn't intend that either. So in some ways, I could be a hater and say, you know what? I wish you'd never play in the NBA ever again at this point. Like, if you show up next year as an unrestricted free agent and you're on the Miami Heat or some other team all of a sudden, yeah, I'm going to be pissed. And in some ways, you know what? You love Kevin Durant so much. You wear 35 in his honor. Well, you're going to be just like your idol. You're going to go places and you're going to leave places and people are going to hate you afterwards. But seriously, some people will say, Lex, you sound like a hater. Why are you hating on a young man who has a health condition? Because some fishy shit is going on here. And honestly, if he was a real one, he'd be coming back to Toronto and he'd be, having honor in what Masai did with him, drafting him, bringing him this league. He has no duty or respect or honor towards Masai and loyalty and what we've done for him. Like, in the hurt that he's been hurt recently, we've been working him out. We're trying to do all the things to get him better. And he turns his back on us with Rich Paul. It's messed up, man. He told his true intentions. He's looking for a new team. And as a second thought, he said, yeah, I would welcome a return to the Raptors if that's what's going to happen. First of all, the situation that he's an unrestricted free agent at this point should have never happened this way. Whether Masai made a mistake and something happened and it happened this way, I doubt that's what it is. I'm pretty sure Masai did everything within his power to make sure that Christian Koloko's rights were retained by the Raptors through this whole medical cloud of weirdness. But it didn't happen that way. So why wouldn't I speculate that the NBA is being unfair towards the Toronto Raptors by stealing a second-round center pick that we had? Why wouldn't I speculate this shit? He showed up in the league, and that Pac-10 blocking prowess showed up in the league also, and they had to hold it down. They had to snuff it out. They had to water it down by calling half his calls as fouls instead of blocks. I've talked about this phenomenon recently. They know he's an overwhelmingly good, powerful center as a blocker. They just don't want that weapon to be on the Raptors. So I think that there's some fishy shit that happened with Koloko. In some ways, I'm really pissed at Christian because Christian came out in the press and said he wants a new team and that he's not loyal to the Raptors. And we drafted him. We did everything for him. Is it because Siakam left? You don't feel any loyal to us? It's because we have bottomed out and we're in a bad place right now. And you feel like, oh, I don't want to go back there. Yeah, you sell out. You punk ass. Yeah, I'm really, really disappointed in you in Christian Coloco. And honestly, I blame Rich Paul. I blame Clutch. And I just want to wash my hands of anybody who's Clutch with this organization. So, Gary, seriously consider changing your representation, because Raptors fans are not the biggest fans of Rich Paul, LeBron James's stupid ass representation group called Clutch right now, because they have done very manipulative, underhanded things on the down low to the Raptors organization last year, like stealing our coach and our second round center now. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I have to say about this subject. Trevor brought it up. I want to do an April Fool's joke and say, yeah, he's showing up. He's going to play for us tomorrow, guys. He's going to put the jersey on of the Raptors red, and he's back with us. That's the absolute opposite. I fooled y'all. Ha ha. He's not coming back. I'm sorry. The truth is actually that he's a fucker, and that him and Rich Paul have done some media shit, just like Rich Paul and Nick did last year, too. Just so y'all know. It's so messed up. And yeah, we're very disappointed in you, Christian. You turn your back on your Raptors family, just like the snake turns his back on Oklahoma City, Golden State, Brooklyn, everywhere he's fucking been. It's like somebody said about Kevin Durant. He doesn't have a home where people love him anywhere now. Everywhere he goes, he used to play, they boo him. And he doesn't have a place where he is beloved and cherished. And Kevin actually answered the guy on Twitter and said, I have a home in every NBA arena. Yeah, you go ahead and believe that. You go ahead and believe that. Oklahoma City people don't like you. Golden State people don't necessarily like you either. And Brooklyn people definitely don't like you. So, yeah, I'm sure at a certain point you'll piss off the Phoenix Suns people too. So you go ahead, young Christian. You go ahead and be like your idol, Kevin Durant, and just burn your bridges all over the league as you leave places. You dumbass. You should never sign with Rich Paul. You should never went with them. Everybody's Clutch. Fuck you. Fuck off. And get the fuck off my team. And unfortunately, that means Gary Trent Jr. is what I'm saying right now. Yeah. All right. There. That's the first part of the stream that I want to talk about. And since we're going to talk about some Nick Nurse stuff, since we played the Sixers last night, just wanted to talk about the situation with Coloco and how fucked up it is. Seriously, if we don't get the answers on this, why exactly the NBA stole our second round pick center, there was a really good prospect that we're all expecting to come back from health issues. I believe this league is so fucking biased and rigged and just unfair to certain teams, and especially the Raptors right now is what I'm saying. Yeah. All right. Trevor's got a question for me. At the beginning of the Raptors franchise, who was the player first to wear a Raptors jersey? That was Damon Stoudemire. That's right. Our first round pick was the first ever person declared as a Raptor other than the expansion draft guys. BJ Armstrong was the first pick in the expansion draft by the Raptors, but he rejected coming to Toronto. Fuckface. Little baby face shithead. Yeah. So, but Damon's the first one who wore the jersey, I believe, Trevor. You want to ask me a question about Raptors trivia? I'm pretty sure it was Stoudemire. Naco the Nacho saying, even Kyle got him on a charge. I thought Grady handled the charge well. Yeah, I mean, all right, that was light work by Kyle. You know, Kyle's taken so many charges over his career that the body of Grady, the young rookie, hitting him is nothing. He's used to getting Mack trucks, forward centers run into him. So Grady is a little bit lighter as a rookie right now. So running into Kyle was light work for Kyle Lowry taking a charge from Grady Dick. There was a play where Kyle hit Grady in the air while he was going to take a dunk that I did not like. I was mad at the Groat for trying to do a dirty play. I really don't like this trend of hitting guys in the air when they're going up to the basket. There's a lot more of this in the league all of a sudden right now. And things like what happened to Abaji the other day are more likely to happen. There was an unwritten rule in the old NBA that you don't hit guys out of the air if they're Skywalkers. If they were Michael, Kenny Walker, Skywalker, you let them go ahead and do what they do. And you didn't try and hit them or push their legs underneath them. This is a really, really bad trend. And there's a tragedy waiting to happen because of this stupid shit that's being allowed. It's dirty as fuck. And when Kyle did it to Grady last night when he was dunking, I was like, you're better than that. But I know it's Nick putting him up to it. And I know that this is the new trend of dirty ass NBA. And yeah, people can get hurt this way very, very easily when people push people in the air. Yeah, it was an interesting game last night. Interesting game. We hung tough with them. In some ways, we threatened to beat them. We won the third quarter, which was fantastic. Outscoring the Sixers by 8 in the third quarter and shrinking the lead for the fourth to have a good chance to try and strike and win. But alas, the Sixers beat us on veteran guile. They had three guys in particular that very much showed up in veteran ways, including our GROAT, Kyle Lowry factor, a very much a factor. The intelligence and smarts of taking charges, like Nako said, of stopping and making stop and pop three from his spots that are just signature from his Raptors career. All the kind of stuff he's doing, directing things, getting alley oops from Mo Bamba. Yeah, Kyle Lowry's veteran leadership was in effect, and his veteran know-how and smarts and leading the team was very much a factor last night. Then when the Raptors would come up and get close to the Sixers in the score, Tobias Harris would find the basket, and he was doing it in a very methodical way. It's almost like I know Nick was probably saying, Tobias, you're the leader of the team tonight with Maxey and Embiid out, and I need you to step up and carry when things are in trouble. And well, that's what Harris did. When the Raptors would get close, he'd hit a basket, and it was a very measured, professional veteran basket that he was usually hitting, either a three or some sort of move where he'd get some distance from his defender and he'd shoot the ball over him in mid-range. So that leadership was powerful and important last night. And something we lacked on the other side is a scorer that was kind of like that. Then Batum. Nicholas Batum is a storied NBA player and also a storied FIBA player. This guy has probably a better international career playing for France than he does in the NBA. But he has so many years and so much experience, and he's a really big body, and he's super, super intelligent. There were a bunch of steals that Batum got in the game that were key, and he hit some big threes too. So the veteran smarts of Lowry, Batum, and Harris were a big, big factor in the game last night and a difference, and part of the reason why they beat us. I would say the other reason is the size advantage that they had. Paul Reed, Mo Bamba, different people doing just stuff that they could do at any time in the game. But that really wasn't what they relied on. They relied on the three to beat us last night, and specifically Kelly Oubre Jr. He was very much on fire and the leading scorer for their side. And I didn't hate it totally because he was on my fantasy team, but I did still lose. It was a tough thing. It was like, yeah, Kelly Oubre's on my fantasy team, and it's like the playoffs right now, and he's like kind of helping me, but also he's destroying the Raptors at the same time. Yeah, Oubre was awesome. They were hitting their threes, and they were playing us down low when they needed to, but they didn't really abuse us down low as much as they could have. Paul Reed could have been facilitated a lot more in this game last night. But that's really what it is, a vet presence and a little bit more size advantage that, we're not going to be able to match up anybody. Kelly is a great center for passing and guile and, just being scrappy, but he's not a very good paint protector. He's just not a quick first step to get meeting guys when they're coming at the rim. And often it's a very open lane, even if Kelly is playing down low. Now, if he's our only big that's available right now, well, we have no paint protection. We have absolutely none whatsoever right now. Now, I'm more and more saying I don't want most of these guys that are playing for us on our team next year. I really am. In some ways, I want to shake this losing streak away from us for good by not returning as many of these guys back as possible. I'd like to rehash our roster way more in the summer, maybe keeping, the important people around, but maybe really getting more size, long arm people, wingspan kind of stuff this summer, because we're going to need the size and the long wingspans better next year because we don't have enough size. We just don't. All right, Monique is here. She went to the game yesterday. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. It was a meh kind of game, but we did battle until the end. Give Gary, Jordan their flowers. No one stopped Kelly, Oubre Jr., etc. Rich Paul is dead to me, and I'm very unhappy with Christian Coloco. Yeah, I am too. I'm so disappointed. Christian, man, you're an idiot. You are honestly an idiot. In some ways, you just burned the fan franchise that you were a rookie with. In some ways, like if this goes down a certain way, like I'm going to tell you right now, I'm mad at you now, but a lot of people will be mad at you soon if you do show up in another jersey next year. Like if all of a sudden, miraculously this summer, all of a sudden your health just picks up and it's just all of a sudden you're all fine and stuff. And then all of a sudden you sign with any other NBA team, especially if it's one that we really are pissed off that you go to, like the Celtics or the Sixers or some shit like that. I'm going to be so angry. And I know that a lot of Raptors fans will see the whole situation and feel like they got shafted and it's unfair also. So, yeah, be ready for that. You really want to do this and do it this way, Rich Paul? Yeah, well, the young man's not going to be very popular in Canada. It definitely won't be like Siakam. Siakam, he's good forever. He's good forever. This is his second home. Christian, you won't get that, bro. You won't get that if you show up in a New Jersey next year. You won't. You won't get that. It's pissing me off, Mo. All right, let me do my stars of the game for the loss last night. My number one star for the Raptors was Kelly Olynyk. Kelly Olynyk's assist streak is just continuing. In fact, he's breaking records for center with assists in the Raptors franchise. He broke a record that Marc Gasol had for most assists in a center over a stretch of games. 11 assists for Kelly last night, 18 points. He did have 5 turnovers, and Darko did note those turnovers after the game, saying he's not too thrilled with them, but he's happy with Kelly overall. Kelly shot 7 of 8 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3. So the only shot he missed was a 3. 3 of 4 at the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 3 steals, 11 assists, 18 points. Yeah, I like Olynyk a lot. But like Darko said after the game, and I said last week, we'll be very happy when he's the backup center again. That in some ways, playing in the role as starting center is not ideal. There's certain things about him that are great as a backup role. In some ways, he's not a good starter at center. Let's just put it that way. We love you, Kelly. Team Canada, you're going to kick butt for us in Paris. But in some ways, I can't wait for Jakob to come back and start, obviously, for all kinds of different reasons. But Kelly's my number one star for the game last night. My second star is Bruce Brown Jr. I begrudgingly give Bruce Brown Jr. a star. In some ways, the first half, he was pissing me off. He was annoying me. He had dumb turnovers that were just silly. He had stupid stuff, but he ended up shooting so well last night that I had to give him some shine. And he carried us in the second half. In the third quarter, he was a big part of the reason why we outscored the Sixers by 8. 7 of 9 from the field, 3 of 4 from 3. He was dialed in on the threes, and he was really hitting them good. 1 of 2 at the free throw line. The missed free throw really pissed me off. 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, minus 13 with 18 points also in 34 minutes. I had to recognize Bruce Brown. Even if he's infuriating me, he's annoying me, he had a good game last night, and he was one of the better players for the Raptors. My third star goes to Gary Trent Jr. Gary Trent Jr. was solid. He showed up and gave good production. He got over 20 points. He shot 50%. I can't be mad at Gary. He showed up and he did good stuff. He didn't make shots early, but he made more by the end of the game, and that was awesome. 10 of 20, 3 of 9 from 3, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, a minus 10 with 23 points. Now, Mo, you're saying Gary's trying to get paid. Yeah, he probably is. And fuck Clutch and Rich Paul and their bullshit. I don't know if we should pay him. In some ways, it's like too little, too late. In some ways, it's like, have you been manipulating your season on the behalf of Rich Paul in your ear or something like that? See, I can't trust anybody who's associated with Clutch at this point, whether it's Nick Nurse, what he did, Christian Coloco's situation now, and Gary Trent Jr. really not jumping or playing well at the beginning of the season and missing a lot of free throws and just doing a really shady shit. Like he's not playing hard or not looking like he's like, I don't know. Maybe he's pulling punches. I don't know. I don't trust Gary totally right now because in some ways I feel like him being represented by Rich Paul is a huge detriment, and we can't trust anybody who's associated with that company at this point. So yeah, Gary, in some ways, hasta la vista this summer, man. In some ways, you're part of the old era. Well, we should just let go of the entire old era and go forward. Because honestly, the more I think back to what David Thorpe said, the more I was against what he said because he was a shit disturber. He's causing problems. But in some ways, he was warning us about Nick, about Fred, and about OG, which is interesting. And now that those 3 entities are gone from our team, there is a weird thing that is left, and it's good in some ways. So if there's any lingering kind of shit like this from the old era, and Gary Trent Jr. is in it in any kind of way, let's just say goodbye to him this summer, seriously. Because I don't want the cloud of Rich Paul and his shenanigans around Gary Trent Jr. in the future around this team. Honorable mention in the stars to Jordan Nwora. Jordan Nwora, of course, had a really good dunk last night, and he's a scorer, guys. This guy's awesome, honestly, because he really was carrying us with scoring too through this game. He really finds a way to get to the basket and score. He's a good finisher too in the lane with traffic around him. So I really like what Jordan's doing. He's a keeper. Now, they said in the broadcast last night, he's a free agent. So he is somebody we'll have to invest money in if we want him to come back next season. 8 of 18 for Jordan, 2 of 7 from 3. He hit his only free throw, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block, 19 points for Jordan Nwora. Yeah, very, very impressed with him. He's my honorable mention. But my 3 stars are Olynyk, Brown, and Trent. Yeah, we'll go over more of the box score in just a little bit. But yeah, it is what it is. I was hoping we could beat Nick and them, but hey, it wasn't going to happen. Nick was frustrated though. He was not happy with his team last night. That we scored way more than he wanted us to. In fact, there was some really good stuff from Darko's offensive system that shows he can beat any kind of thing with any kind of personnel. And Darko's system has been a star even in the losing lately. There's the fact that we have such a not a very talented team and we're still able to score against really, really good defenses like the Sixers and the Knicks is actually a really good testament. Not gonna lie. Seriously. The amount of points we can put on the board against the Knicks team recently and the Sixers team is actually an accomplishment. I knew it actually drove Nick Nurse nuts. Some of the ways we were getting baskets last night. There was a lot of points in the paint for the Raptors last night. We actually got a deceivingly high amount of points in the paint. And absolutely, Nick hates that shit. So in some ways, he was extremely frustrated with his team's defense last night. Knowing Nick Nurse, watching him for so many years, I know that's the truth about last night. So yeah, it is what it is. Wayne saying, I'm getting annoyed at Darko's insistence of playing Jalen McDaniels. There is no value or development. This guy, the ship has sailed. I'm going to counterpoint on this. I see Wayne's opinion is noted, and I'm totally disagree with him. In some ways, I'm mystified by him as far as like what he can become. In some ways, the patience I have for Precious developing and getting better, I don't have for Jalen McDaniels. But apparently, he's on another year of contract with the Raptors next year, so he will probably be around with us next year, and we'll have to see if there's any kind of new development this summer with his game, if there's something that's going to happen. I know you say the ship has sailed, but his brother and the output that his brother does for the Timberwolves is so attractive that in some ways the risk and the gamble of hanging around with him just in case he does open up his game all of a sudden may be worth it. We'll have to see. Let me go look at them. Another thing I will say, Wayne, is that lineup that they had out there when they brought Mohamedou out there with Jalen McDaniels was actually the one I liked the best last night because we had actually some wingspan and length out there, and we were actually playing really well with the plus minus and defensively when McDaniels and Gay were out on the court. So, Jalen was 3 for 6, 0 for 1 from 3-point land, 2 for 2 at the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 8 points in 18 minutes. Yeah, he didn't really bug me too much. I felt like he was a good defensive presence in some ways. He was playing Paul Reed, who's got some weight on him, and he was doing okay. He was doing okay. In some ways, Reed could have muscled him around a little bit more than he did, but McDaniels used his length pretty good in those situations. Mohamedou was awesome. I was really, really happy with Mohamedou's minutes last night. He was 1 for 2, 1 for 2 at the free throw line. Wish you made your free throw, but 1 rebound, 1 assist, and an amazing block. It was really a catalyst block, which sent us into a fast break and Kobe Simmons making a really nice layup. That was at a very key point late in the game where we needed some energy and a momentum shift, and Mohamedou provided that with a great block. I mean, that was a really good block. He came up from behind, and that's something he's been doing all season on 905, those kind of blocks. So, oh, man, that was awesome. I love seeing that. Kobe Simmons was a bright spot to me also. I really like Kobe Simmons a lot. I like how Jack was talking him up with his name, Kobe Jordan Simmons. There were things that Kobe did last night that were awesome. Very, very, very awesome. That high layup that he made, he got up high to make sure he made that layup off the break, off the Mo block. But yeah, I really like Kobe Simmons last night. 3 for 6. He did miss his only 3-point attempt, 1 rebound, 3 assists, 6 points. Just a little tidy game. Not too bad. JFL was taking a lot of shots. He was in some ways, 4 of 11, 1 of 3 from the field, 2 of 2 at the free throw line, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 11 points. There was a point where JFL made a JFL basket, and it was exactly the right time for him to make a JFL basket. He was coming down the lane, coming down the court, and he saw that the defense wasn't coming back full burst, so he put his jets on, and he got past them, and he made a quick layup. That's JFL's game right there. That layup where he burst past everybody and he threw the ball in the hoop really quick, like by beating people with quickness. That's his game. And if he could do that regularly with the confidence, because he recognized that situation, he put on the Jets and he went and did it. That's what I want to see from him. But in some ways, those opportunities in the NBA are far and few in between. And he's not going to be able to get like 20 points by outbursting everybody, putting the turbo on and getting to the hoop really quick like that. Now, that first step of him and Kobe Simmons is deadly because those guys are very, very quick. It's just they got to get around people, and they have to have an open lane, and they also have to read when the help defense, the paint defense, the big guy down low is going to be around there lurking and stopping you. These games recently against the Knicks and the Sixers, these G League Raptors are finding out the big league is harder because the length is longer, and Mitchell Robinson's around in the paint. Yeah, he's going to block you, Kobe Simmons, on shots you would normally make in the G League for the 905. Same thing for JFL. I'd say the same thing. So, yeah, Grady had an okay game. He shot 3 of 8, 12 points, 1 of 3 from 3. But, yeah, it was just a ho-hum game for Grady in some ways. All right, let me see what else you guys are saying here. Chris is saying, I'm done with JFL. I saw it last night in comparison with Lowry. There just isn't enough. Oh, wow. So that's a turn of events. Chris is kind of like not as high on JFL. He was saying all this stuff about him a lot recently. I just want to say, look, I don't hate JFL. I think he's a great young man. I think he's awesome. It's just that I understand what it takes and what translates. They were talking about this on Raptors Tonight last night with Dan Tolzman, the assistant GM of the Raptors, was on with Randy Urban and the crew. And they asked him about translating skills from college to the NBA. And Dan Tolzman said they're all different animals: college, high school, G League, and the NBA. And a lot of the stuff in the G League does not totally translate to the NBA. And that's the big problem for these G League guys. These JFL can be a superstar in the G League. But when you get around the 7-footers, the people with the really long wingspans, the really fast big people, well, a lot of the stuff that he does in his bag of tricks just is not able to be done on an NBA court. Yeah, it was interesting to see Lowry taking it to those younger guys. He has a special bond with Kobe Simmons. In fact, let me go do my Instagram stories real quick, because I'll start with this. Gary Trent Jr. shaking hands with Kyle Lowry. Of course, they were teammates on the Raptors. In fact, he was the only teammate other than Chris Boucher who's sitting on the bench with Kyle Lowry when he was on the Raptors that's still here. So Gary's like the only guy on the court representing the Raptors that Nick Nurse coached. Seriously, none of the other guys that played last night, Nick Nurse had any coaching with. And in some ways, I like that. I really, really do, considering how toxic and contaminated Nick Nurse was in his last year as a Raptors coach. So, yeah, we see Kyle dapping Gary Trent on his Instagram. We see Jordan Wara putting his big dunk on his Instagram. Very, very cool. Lloyd was online late last night for a second. He gave $100. The first person who lined on. What about Lloyd, Scotty's best friend? So he's been getting on the Twitch too. So we got to watch out for him. Lowry with a beautiful picture of the CN Tower in the fog first, and then him coming in with the Canada flag, Canada maple leaf on his shirt, coming in saying Canada Kyle. And that's right. And he made it very clear that Canada is his home in some ways. It's like his second home. He said not even the city. He means the whole country of Canada. And we see a nice picture of him on the court saying forever home, Kyle Lowry. We see him shooting a shot over Javon Freeman Liberty in the picture. That's what Chris is talking about. See him dribbling by Bruce Brown, shooting over Kobe Simmons, hugging Kobe Simmons after the game. And apparently Kyle's must be mentoring Kobe Simmons to a degree. It's very interesting. And there's a stat line: 11 points, 10 assists, double-double for the GOAT, 3 of 5 from 3 for Lowry. And he even signed his jersey and wrote to Kobe, keep grinding, never stop the work. And that's Lowry giving his signed game-worn jersey last night to Kobe Simmons after the game, guys. So there's a special bond between Simmons and Lowry. Grady has his highlight. You got to keep your eyes on that guy with the backdoor cut, and Kelly Olynyk out there. Look out. There he is dunking it. That's right. We love it, Grady. Zach Edey, big day yesterday, making it the Final Four, and he cussed in his post-game conference, dropping an F-bomb. He said, we're fucking winners. You go, Big Zach. You're awesome, man. I love it. Of course, Marquise Noel is celebrating Easter yesterday. He is risen. And we saw that post on a lot of Raptors Instagram accounts yesterday, like Emmanuel Quickly and a few others. So, yeah, Marquise Noel very much celebrating his belief in Christ. And Easter Sunday, and he even posted a nice little Bible verse there that I actually read and got into it. You know, Marquise, I'm not a very religious person, but you've got me reading the Bible, just so you know, Noel. That's the kind of influence you got. Seriously, that's awesome, man. Yeah, and that's about it. I don't have anything else to say about the Instagram stories otherwise. But yeah, interesting stuff with Lowry's return to Toronto. Of course, he gets an ovation in our building that rightfully he should. He rightfully should. And as Jack said in the broadcast, he's going to be up in the rafters, and he will be. He will be. Number 7 hopefully will be, I like to retire DeMar's number first. I like to do DeMar first and then Kyle second. In some ways, DeMar was here before Kyle, and DeMar is a huge important part of why our franchise was so successful over the last decade. He really, really is, and he doesn't get his due in some ways. So I'd like to make the first ever jersey number that we retire be number 10, and it's DeMar DeRozan's, shortly followed by the number 7 of Kyle Lowry. But yeah, we'll see those go up there. Mike saying Zach Edey went monster mode to get Purdue to the Final Four. Wow. Yeah, this guy's awesome. This guy is very, very good. And I want to figure out how we can get him. All right. After last night, the odds for us to stay in the 6th position are now at 75%. So we have a 3/4 chance of staying in 6 and Memphis not getting worse than us by the end of the season. That's good. And how's that translate? If you ask Lex, with the percentage chance of us staying in the top 6, well, it means that we're probably about 45% chance to keep our pick as of right now. See, we don't even have over 50% chance to keep our pick right now, the way that it is right this second. And part of it is this. This is basically this, guys. We'll finish 6, and that's the absolute last place we can be. If we're 7th, that San Antonio gets the pick. And well, if any other team gets a higher from below us, gets into the top 6, they bump us to 7, and we lose our pick to San Antonio. So in some ways, we don't want the top teams to change in the draft, in the lottery. We need the Detroit, Washington, Charlotte, all them to fall in their spots, and none of them to fall out of the top 6. We need that to happen for us to be helpful, or we need to have luck ourselves and jump from 6 or higher. There is a 9% chance we get the number 1 pick in this draft, guys. There seriously is. That's how high our draft pick chance is right now. 9% chance we get number 1 pick. So there are chances that we get number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. Now, San Antonio fans are funny. I'm going to listen to them and what they're saying about the situation with the protected pick and us. And they're saying that they think we'd be fools to not let them get the pick this year. That this year's draft is really, really bad. And that in some ways, even the mid-draft pick in the middle of the draft next year will be better than any high pick in this year's draft. In some ways, I believe Spurs fans, they're very smart and they're very much in tune with draft waves. Obviously, look at what Wembanyama, Duncan, Robinson, all the great success they've had and luck with the draft. These guys really pay attention to draft stuff, especially since in the last couple of years, Spurs Nation has been used to tanking and losing, in some ways looking at only draft things and getting ready for Victor and stuff like that. So what the astute, knowledgeable Spurs fans are saying, the Raptors would be smart to let us have their pick this year, get it over with, because next year's draft is going to be way better, even if the draft pick is lower in the draft and not as high as the 7th pick or like that. Yeah. So, man, in some ways, I think that I'm going to game this situation no matter what in a positive way for the Raptors, even if it looks like a huge fail at the end of the year and the Spurs are drafting number 7 with the pick that we were supposed to protect. I'm not going to be upset about that because what I just said could very well be true. And Spurs fans are kind of like, you know what, Raptors, you should just let us have the pick right now. And I believe them. They're not saying this just to be shitheads. They're being for real and saying that, you know what, you guys might want to have the pick next year. And because if we come and get the pick next year, you may regret it more than this year. Does that make sense? What I'm saying? I could actually ask logical. Is that logical? I mean, it's an interesting situation. It very much is. All right, let's see. You guys were guessing. Smith said, I forgot his name, but I know who he is. Yeah. And Stillman saying, I love the passion from Zach on his post-game interview. Me too. It's hilarious. Listen, young man, you're on national television across the world. And yeah, you going to drop an F-bomb? It's just, man, this world's getting crazy. I know I'm a symptom of it with all my cussing on here. I know I am. Yeah. Yeah. Mookie Blaylock, Duke got in there last and got it just a little late. Duke, sorry, Jason. Just got it just a little bit outside. Just a little bit outside of getting it before MSJ on that one. Yeah. All right, let's see. Smooth saying, is this current roster worse than 95-96? Is the Raptors roster without the injuries With I mean, no injury. All right, we're saying guys that are healthy, and not talking about Scotty, Jakob, RJ, Emmanuel, all them on the bench that have been in street clothes for about a month now. We're talking about the guys who are available to play. No, this isn't the worst team we've ever had. The league is so much better in some ways, is a big part of it. The worst teams we ever had were back then and also around the early Bosch years. Those are the two worst times. I would say Tampa is also a bad time around there with our rosters when guys were out with COVID and there were very, there's blip games. There's that game that we played against Cleveland on Boxing Day where we had 4 replacement players and 4 bench players. That may be the worst team ever put on a court by the Raptors. And the score showed it in that game on Boxing Day against Cleveland when we had Yuta Watanabe, Delano Banton, Chris Boucher, and 4 replacement players that showed up an hour before the game on a bus that they had never met before. That may be the worst team we ever put on a court. I'm serious. There were some teams around Bosch's early time that were really absolutely dreadful. Times between Carter and DeRozan is what I'm saying. And then in the very beginning, I mean, those teams were kind of talented considering. I mean, I don't know that the worst losing team in Raptors history, the one that won 18 games, there's probably a good case for that team being pretty bad. Yeah. Yeah. Bryce is here. Good morning, Lex and Raptor Freaks. Good morning to you, Bryce Lawson, in the Kentucky, the heartland of basketball. Let's see. Most saying Kyle Lowry post game talking glowing on Toronto, GROAT forever and always. Yeah, he's respectful. And like Jack and Matt said, he's still making money from Canadian advertisers. This is our house. Yeah, it's weird seeing that ad and seeing him on the screen on the court also at the same time. Yeah, Adriana goes to the game last night and she's like, I forgot Kyle's playing for Philadelphia now. So she was so pleasantly happy to get to see Kyle Lowry back in Scotiabank Arena last night, going to the game with Wendy last night. Yeah, she was very loud, apparently. If y'all heard people saying, let's go Raptors and defense throughout the whole game, that was Adriana. I'm serious. Her and Wendy apparently took up my place of not being there, and they were relentless. In some ways, Adriana said, I don't understand how you do it, Lex, because I've lost my voice. And then she's feeling it today from being so loud at the game. She really did try and replace me while I was gone. And I heard them, seriously, during the game. During the game last night, did you hear singular voices saying, let's go Raptors all the time? I'm pretty sure that was them. Because a lot of the fans on a game like that last night where they think, oh, we're just going to lose, they're not going to have the passion and enthusiasm that some of us would going to the game. So good job, Adriana. You make me proud getting there and getting loud like I would in my place. She definitely tried to bring my energy there without me being there. I love her. She's so awesome for doing that. Yeah, she is so awesome for doing that. Crazy is saying, wait, you think Rich Paul is paying off doctors? Lex, the NBA's fitness to play pro panel decided it's clots. Nothing crazy happened. Well, why is it so fucking weird, the outcome here, Chris? Seriously. Yeah, I could see Rich Paul paying off a fake ass doctor and doing some crazy ass shit. Seriously. I think that this is so fucking shady. Like, when does this ever happen this way, Chris? Seriously, where a player mysteriously has a mystery ailment and then all of a sudden we lose their rights. Like, all of a sudden, why did we lose his rights? That's what I'm wondering. Why did the NBA intervene and say, you don't have any jurisdiction over this player anymore? His medical condition is so bad. Like, what is this, Chris? In some ways, yeah, I can infer. If Rich Paul's involved, I'm going to think there's something fishy because there's a track record of this already. We look at the Nick Nurse situation, it's fishy as fuck. And if they can manipulate situations, it's something like, you know what? Toronto doesn't deserve you, Christian. You're up on the rise center. We're going to get you out of there. Okay. All right. Whatever you say, Rich. And boom, they do finagle some crazy ass shit. Listen, if it ever comes out in the future that Christian Coloco's medical shit was fabricated and made up, yeah, I'm exactly right about Rich Paul. And I in this world and this day and age, you can't believe everything you hear, Chris. And in some ways, if Rich Paul and Clutch are representing somebody, I'm going to think something's dubious at this point. There's a cloud of suspicion. Just like Jonte doing little betting site and something, there's a cloud of suspicion around him because there's a door open. And the presence of Clutch and somebody's representation groups is going to make me think something's fishy, that there's malfeasance, that there's collusion, because in some ways, the owner of the company is the face of the league. And he's the fucking guy who's still playing. It's all convoluted and crazy. Yeah, Look, the fitness to play panel, I never fucking heard of these motherfuckers until this year. Like, what is this shit? And how come I've never heard of other players having this issue in front of the fitness to play panel? Like, what the fuck is this? Seriously. Seriously, Chris. You say nothing crazy happened, and you may think I'm a paranoid conspiracy theorist, but why wouldn't I look at this with my eyes wide open? Why wouldn't I look at this media play by Christian saying this interview to the Tucson Reporter that, yeah, he's looking forward to playing for a new team? Yeah, Chris, think about every piece that I told y'all about today and what I've been telling y'all. Seymour saying, what, Pop Fam? Back to our regular scheduled program, Freak Raptor Freaks and Freakettes. There you go, Seymour. Tomorrow, the Lakers. And yeah, we'll have to see how the free throw discrepancy goes tomorrow. We'll have to see who our refs are tomorrow. Yeah, I'll have all that tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. on the preview for the Raptors hosting the Los Angeles Lakers tomorrow night. You see how I said that with disdain. Jimmy saying Zach Edey with 40 and 16. Sheesh. Yeah, he's a real deal. Go get that national championship, young man. Go boil up the make the boil in the Final Four and kick some butt. That's right. I'm rooting for you, Zach. I've been rooting for you this whole tournament, and I want to see you get there and get all the way to the top. All right, let's see. G is saying MSJ is right. He's in the NBA Fitness to Play program, and they're monitoring him. Clots are a major life-threatening issue and need to be monitored closely. Well, if this is all true and on the up and up, I agree with y'all. But forgive me for not trusting a crooked-ass league like the NBA at this point. Like, seriously. Now, what I would say, G, is let's monitor this shit this summer and see if he just miraculously gets better in time to make a training camp on another team. That's what I want to say. In some ways, we thought he'd never play ever again last summer. In some ways, that's the painting the picture of all this. Now, think about the timeline of this, guys. Windersing it. He was not. He was always a part of the Raptors up until a certain time in the middle of the season. This whole time before, it was like he may not have a future in this league. He may not ever be able to play again as blood clots. Well, what if all of a sudden his rights are dropped by us in the middle of the season? That's what Masai said. It's out of my hands now. It's in the hands of the NBA. And I have we'd have no rights to him anymore. All of a sudden he miraculously starts getting better. That's what I'm saying, y'all. Let's just keep our eyes open and critical thought going in this one. I'll see how this happens. I may be absolutely dead wrong, and it all makes a more clearer picture in a different way than what I'm saying right now. But I could see this scenario being what I'm saying exactly right now. Seriously. We'll find out. Let's see what Christian does. Let's see if he sits at home still because he can't, because he's not medically cleared. Or let's see if he's all of a sudden miraculously medically cleared. And let's see where the fuck his career goes next, since he's ready to play for another team. His own words, y'all. His own words right there is what I'm saying. You know what? Let's do the score check, since I don't see Isaac in here, and we'll just go ahead and do it. All right, score predictions yesterday. This is the rundown of how we did. Race Mode got last. He was 59 points off, and that's because he said 99 to 97 is a high-scoring game. So 59 points is probably the most somebody's been off so far, I think. Omari was second to last, 50 points off the score. Chris was third to last, 49 points off the score. Fiercey, 44 points off the score. Tom Duke, 42 off the score. G, 38 points off the score. Seventh place, Nako, 37 points off the score. Trevor J, sixth place, 34 points off the score. Now the top five. Tied at fourth, me and Monique, both 30 points off the score last night. Good job, Mo. We both got 30 off. Cowboy, 28 points off the score. Dana came in second. She guessed the Raptors score exactly right, 120, but she didn't get the Sixers score right, 19 points off the score. And the winner last night being only 15 points off the score, Isaac Campbell. Benevolent Isaac Campbell won the point prediction competition last night. Just 128 to 112 is what he said. He was 15 points off. 7 off of the Sixers and 8 off of the Raptors. So good job, Isaac, getting the score prediction yesterday. Dana getting the Raptor score exactly right at the game and getting her 2-finger salutes in at the game also. Good job, Dana, getting those in there. She said she made the money symbol at the refs while she was at the game last night, and she made sure Nick saw her 2-finger salute. So, Dana, success in your goals of yesterday. Really, really good stuff. Bryce is saying, yeah, Zach is going beast mode. Beast mode. Yeah. Mike is saying this. And man, whatever Mike can find out about this stuff in any kind of way, because I know Mike's actually looked at the collective bargaining agreement with the NBA and the players and everything. He's looked at salary cap rules. He knows a lot of the minutia and the ins and outs of the NBA organization and how the rules are. That's what I'm saying. Mike, where are the rules that said what happened with Koloko is okay? Where are the rules that we got to this point with him? It's crazy. He said, I don't know what will happen with Koloko's illness. It could take years to be cleared. Once we waived Koloko, he became a free agent, and the NBA fitness to play panel will cover the medical costs, but bar him to sign. Yeah, see, that's crazy. In some ways, okay, maybe Bobby and Masai saw the financials of it and they're like, well, he may never play ever again. Do we want to be on the hook on it? So they cut bait. And at that point, is that what it is? I mean, he's making it sound like he's getting closer to play and it'll be soon. You're saying this could be years or take years. I get that. Man, I want to believe this is all in the up and up, but we know the NBA is weird with their finagling and manipulating situations. And in some ways, I don't want to make light of this situation because it is a young man's health and his future. But I don't like what he said, saying he's looking for a new team. He's looking forward to being on a new team, and he's already put the Raptors behind him. Yeah, that's fucked up. Seriously. Like, you got to think about this from our standpoint. He was an asset that we acquired in the draft, and we should have rights to him. But I guess because we had to waive him for salary moves or because of roster spots, there could be a couple different reasons why, that it's just he's lost and he's just lost. So now he's just sitting out there and he's just a free agent for anybody to go pick up. It sounds like if this was convoluted and made up, this is an out, a way for somebody to get somebody dislodged from a team. And that's why I'm saying that seems fishy as fuck, guys. That's why I think it is. Mike, thanks for clearing it up a little bit in what you're saying here, because this makes sense, what you're saying. G saying Embiid is 7 feet, 284 pounds. Zach is 7'4", 300 pounds. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I want this size because the league's getting bigger. Victor's here now. And Victor's just starting. He's only going to get tougher and tougher to beat. And, the symptoms of it are like a win against the Knicks the other night in San Antonio. That, at the beginning of the season, he didn't know what he's doing. He's green. He's going to learn more and more. And it's going to be harder and harder for teams to beat the Spurs as the years go on, right? So we need somebody to match him eye to eye. Well, let's get a 7'4" young man. Is closer to his height and able to kind of guard him in certain ways. Smooth saying, I just can't see the front office not making a major move this summer. They aren't going to tolerate this kind of losing. It's really not fair to Darko at all. This product is gross. Well, I think it's a means to an end right now. That it's not calculated. It's calculated in a way, and it's purposeful. But in some ways, it's like we're not outright saying it. In some ways, it's like, look, we got to walk this line of like, look, we're just doing what we're doing. If we don't win, we don't win. And it sucks. It sucks. They're right on the broadcast when they say the play-in tournament has made everything so much more competitive at the end of the season. In past NBA seasons, these games at the end of the season may be gimmies because teams have figured out their destinies already. But everything's competitive right up to the end of the season at this point. So even bottom-feeding teams can't steal wins from top teams that have kind of shut down for the regular season getting ready for the playoffs. That phenomena doesn't exist anymore. So that's part of the difference in futility for this team at this point. A team that won 19 games for the Raptors in the mid-90s, they got some gimme games at the end of the season in this period of time because of what I just described. And that's just not the case in the new era. I'm with you, Smooth. That's what I'm saying. I want our team to look very different than the team we've been putting on the court in the last few games. That's why a lot of those guys I don't want to see on our team next year. I really, really don't, because I don't want to have the memories of this stretch right now. In some ways, Scotty, RJ, Emmanuel, Jakob, those guys, Kelly, Grady, those guys come back next year. But the rest of it, it's all up in the air. They're all up in the air. Otherwise, those guys I named, they're going to be back. For sure. Those other guys, I have no fucking idea which ones are coming back. And in some of them, maybe most of them shouldn't come back, is what I'm saying. Maybe most of them shouldn't. Nako's saying, I'm giving Koloko the benefit of the doubt and that the injury was legit. Him wanting a new team seems like it's the business, my 2 cents. Yeah, fuck all that. That's bullshit. That's bullshit, Gerald. In some ways, it's like, look, you got drafted by Masai. We brought you to Toronto. We've invested in you. You had a rookie year here. You were playing alongside us. You were fighting the Miami Heat and Martin. We have a history, bro. You were supposed to be here playing with the great Siakam. You barely played. Like, what the fuck happened? And now this, in some ways, this is tragedy. In some ways, I hope you do play again. But if you show up and play for another team, I'm going to be pissed, is what I'm saying. It's really tough because in some ways we could look bad as a fan nation for hating on a young man who has bad health. But in some ways we feel cheated. We feel robbed and something's wrong with this whole situation with how things shook out with Coloco. I'm telling you, something is wrong here. Something is wrong here. I'm telling you, something is wrong here. I want to believe Coloco, but in some ways I also see the bullshit he's doing online. And he has no allegiance to us. He's cut ties with us and he's ready to go play for another team. His own words. His own words. He didn't say, I'm ready to come back and take my career back to the Raptors. No. In some ways, he said, his afterthought is, oh, I would think about coming back to the Raptors. He didn't say he would come back to the Raptors. In some ways, it's like he probably wouldn't want to come back to the Raptors at this point because of where we're at with our current state with our team. I don't know. In some ways, he's not loyal. In some ways, he's not a real one. Let's just put it that way, is what I'll say about Coloco. Seymour saying NBA pulled the chair on us again. I'm not surprised. That Coloco news is crazy. Yeah, it's just wrong. It's not fair. It's like, if players can get medically exempt for a whole entire year, why couldn't we do this with Coloco? Is it because there's no clear timetable for when he's going to return? That if we do a medical exemption for him this year and then next year it's the same situation, we got to do the medical exemption the next year and the next year. Is it that the doctors are saying that, what, we have no idea when you could be ready to play again? Now, in the article is saying things are progressing. He's getting better. He feels like he's going to be back soon. That's what it says in the article. Like, why did this magically just change? Like, from it, maybe his career is gone forever to like, oh, he's progressing and he could be back very soon. That's the shit that's fishy as fuck to me. I'm saying, G saying, Lex, you do have a point. Raptors should have first right, like a restricted free agent situation. I hope that's true, but it doesn't sound like that's true from that article. In fact, it was made very clear and delineated in that article that came out the beginning of February. This is something that's been out for like almost 2 months. It came to my attention just recently, yesterday, when Trevor J shared it in our Raptor Freak Facebook chat. I've heard very little about Coloco with people like Lewinberg and Grange, and they really didn't clearly illustrate the whole situation with this. That his status is he's an unrestricted free agent who will be able to sign with any team whatsoever if he gets his health back. And if he gets his health back this summer, we could see it right in front of our faces, y'all. Right in front of our faces. Jimmy's saying Zach is doing that mask meme, laughing my ass off. Somebody stop me, Jim Carrey. That's awesome. I love that. Mike's saying it probably the case. Coloco is probably never going to play on that contract. If he's out next year too, it wouldn't have mattered. He would have been a free agent either way. Okay, that's a good point, Mike. That's a good point. So his contract wasn't a very long-term contract, and that maybe the terms of the contract were passed maybe when he was cleared to play. All right. You're trying to kind of making me feel better, but it's still like we fucking put dibs on him in the draft. We drafted him. He's a Toronto Raptors second round pick. Like, I don't get this. I mean, I feel like there's some sort of specialty clause they'd give for like a team like the Celtics or the Lakers in this situation, so that they'd be able to retain such a good center prospect with such a cloudy, mysterious medical situation. That's the thing that I don't understand is like, I just feel like they should have rights to Coloco. I don't get this. I feel like Rich Paul is a fucker. And if he's involved in this, he probably finagled this shit somehow, some way. He may be like, he does his research. He said, well, if you have this kind of medical condition, we could probably get you out of this. And, he just does his shit. He got Nick out of here. Why wouldn't I think he's trying to get Coloco out of here too? He got Fred out of here. Why wouldn't I think he's trying to get Coloco out of here too? Seriously. Shir Khan's here. Good to see Shir Khan. Rookie of the year last year for the Raptor Freak family. Shir Khan is a great Raptor Freak and a great question asker. Let's see. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. Nice to hear from CeeLo. Hopefully, Raps will get a chance to get another look. Kelly Olynyk averaging 5 boards and 5 assists with Yak back next season. Maybe won't need CeeLo. I'm all in for Eddie. 2024-25. I love this. Shir Khan being so positive is making me feel better. In some ways, you guys are balancing my negativity about the situation. In some ways, you know how I am. I can be very kind of like mobster. It's like you're either in the family or out of the family. And in some ways, the signs of what he did is making me feel like, Coloco, you want out the family. So I'm giving you a Doug Christie three-pointer. You got 13, my guy, Shir Khan, 13 dunks for the year. You guys are making arguments to try and help me see this in a balanced way of trying to keep it positive. I appreciate that. And I like, especially that Shirkan's saying maybe we just won't need Koloko. I mean, honestly, he's such a good weapon. He would be such a good look. He really is one of the best shot blockers in the league coming up if he's healthy and he's around. And it's annoying that the Raptors may lose this value since we've had problems with keeping good centers. And now we've got one that's got a gambling issue. And now we have another one that's mysteriously fallen through our fingers. Now, the other thing is it's going to look bad on the front office. You know, Masai haters are going to use this, going to say, how did you lose people like Delano and Christian, let them slip through your fingers? This is kind of the bullshit that some people are trying to say right now. In some ways, I'll bet you they did everything possible to keep Koloko in the right way, business-wise and status-wise. And in some ways, I get the feeling that Masai feels like the NBA has been unfair with how they ruled the things with Koloko. And that, like he says he's exasperated. It's in the NBA's hands. I can't do anything about it. It's in the NBA's hands. He said that a couple times. It's like, it's out of my hands. It's the NBA's responsibility now. I think that's saying frustration and in some ways a little disappointed and not feeling like it's very fair is what he's saying when he says that. Wayne's saying, just clean out the damn dead wood the minute the season is over. Give playing time to the G Leaguers. I don't understand the Christian scenario either, but I don't agree with your take. Speculative. Sure, I do speculate. I speculate a lot. And but I do know the reading of his words, his own words. And this is true. I do speculate. And often I'm right. But very often I can be wrong too. But the thing is, if I speculate and I say something and it does turn out to be wrong, I'll take it back and I'll apologize and I'll do damage control or I'll do whatever. It's just I don't mind. I mean, I'm not a reporter. I'm not an official like broadcaster. I'm a fan, and I just say stuff on a YouTube channel every morning. In some ways, I don't have the duties that somebody like Jack Armstrong would have on his broadcast to be responsible and not cuss or not be political or not, say crazy shit like what I've said today. I think what I've said today is very fair to consider and think about. But I like what you're saying here, Wayne. You're saying, let's clear out the dead wood. And I'm with you on that. In some ways, if we're going to a new era of Scotty and barbecue, let's get rid of all the old remnants. Even Chris. I love Chris, but it's obvious that Darko's not very high on Boucher. And Gary, too. Both those guys probably need to go. And we just need to restart. And we're going to go forward with a whole new era with Scotty, absolutely the leader, the enthusiastic face of the franchise, and taking us to where he wants to take us. And he's got his people now around him, like Grady, RJ, Emmanuel, Kelly, and Jakob. Because honestly, in some ways, I'm really disappointed in what has happened in the underlying sabotage of our team in the last year. I really do feel like Nick Nurse did a lot of shady shit. And why wouldn't I think that if he's represented by Clutch, that Koloko's not totally like on the up and up? What's going on right now? Seriously. It is speculative, and I may be completely wrong. And if it comes out later that I am wrong, I will do a correction, and I'll apologize. And I'll even say that, yeah, I was off base on this, and I shouldn't have said this. But for right now, in this situation, looking at it from my perspective, some of the things that I'm saying could actually be very true. And I hate the fact that I don't trust people anymore in institutions, whether it's our government or the NBA. But in some ways, I don't. I really, really don't. And there's reasons why. There really, really, really is reasons why. Chris is saying, anyway, April Fool's on JFL. He is still my NBA Jesus. Okay, so you were saying that as an April Fool's joke. Well, I mean, it's okay. You go ahead and love JFL. I'm not going to hate on that. Koloko, Cool Cat saying, good morning, Raptor Free crew. What did I miss on Koloko? Let me go check. Well, all right, let me do this, guys. I'll put the link to the article so you guys can go read it yourselves. You guys may think that I'm being too negative towards him, but you go read this article and you tell me how you feel about it. It's at the bottom of the chat, the link, and you can go look at it. There is a paywall, but you get a couple of free chances to look at it. This is dated from like February the 18th is when this came out last a month and a half ago. So, yeah, check that out. Read the article. It's very descriptive of the whole situation with Koloko in the last year. And when you get to the part that I read that made me absolutely livid, you'll understand why. You'll understand why. So, Colecat, definitely read that article. You will definitely want to read it. G saying, don't stress about Koloko. Zach is coming home. All right, G, I like that. Well, in some ways, my channel is here to inform on all Raptors issues. And this is not an issue that's been put on blast on Twitter yet or anywhere in social media. And I don't think enough people are aware of this situation in some ways. In some ways, I don't want to talk about this too much. This may be the only day I talk about Koloko in this situation until there's more details that come out that change things. And, I can talk about it more. In some ways, I don't want to put a big spotlight on this because people that don't like our team will use it against us. And I don't want that to happen. So in some ways, we'll talk about it today. I want y'all to be aware of this situation, but it's not something I'm going to harp on. In some ways, if it does go to this place where Koloko signs with another team and he's in another jersey next year, he's dead to me, y'all. Just so y'all know, he's dead to me. Because in some ways, the choice wasn't to come back to us and resume his career with us, rightfully, the people that drafted him. So I will say that. I will say that right now, guys. In some ways, I know what I can control and I can't. I can control whether I like Christian Koloko or not. Let's just see how he does things. And if things go on the up and up and they make a sense, then you know what? I'll celebrate him more in the future. But right now, he's dubious at best. Dubious at best. That's right. Mike's saying we signed Koloko for 3 years. He played his rookie year and missed his second year. And if he was projected to be out next year dealing with it too, then it's better for him to go focus on getting right. Okay, Mike. So basically what Mike's saying is he had a 3-year contract. He fulfilled the first year. The second year he didn't get to do because of medical. And there's possibility he won't be able to do the year next year either. Well, okay. If he does not play for the NBA at all next year, I'll feel good. If he does come back and play in the NBA at all, any point next year, I will be pissed because the contract originally was 3 years with us. And if all of a sudden his third year in the NBA, he's all of a sudden showing up in another jersey, that is fucked up and weird is what I'll say. So, all right, Mike, man, once again, I'm so grateful that you're back in the channel because you do help me clarify things. And you are, in some ways, your strengths are very much a weakness of mine. And I appreciate you. Smooth saying Clutch has become the dominant player in the agent game, though. NBA is not doing anything to stop or mitigate it. Well, I won't have a problem with this once LeBron's gone. In some ways, it's shady as fuck that an active player in this league owns a company that is managing people's contracts and deciding decisions about where they may go in the league. I mean, I don't understand how people can't think that this is a conflict of interest. That, I don't care if LeBron is not in the day-to-day. He keeps tabs on things, and he probably talks to Rich Paul every day. And I don't understand how you can suss this out. It's the same kind of shit with the Supreme Court right now. They are completely convoluted and taking money from people and doing crazy ass shit. It's all compromise. The integrity of the institution is fucked up in the U.S. Supreme Court right now. Well, in some ways, I would say the allowances of Clutch and the representation being owned by LeBron, who profits financially from it, is very much a collusion and a conflict of interest. And it shouldn't be allowed right now. That's why I said if LeBron retires, I don't have a problem with this because he's not actively playing himself. In some ways, that's the problem. I don't have a problem with a player being involved in player representation. Just do it after you retire. Seriously, because there is a conflict of interest in there. It really is. Now, I don't think that Clutch is getting any bigger or badder. I think it's just that we've had a lot of Clutch around our team in the last couple of years, and hopefully we won't very soon. That's what I'm saying. Gary, man, it's too bad you're Clutch, bro, because it makes me inclined to not want you to have you come back next year. Koloko, you're Clutch, obviously. Fred was Clutch. Nick was Clutch. Yeah, who else is Clutch on our team after that? I don't think anybody else is. Thank God. Thank God. Seriously. All right, let's see. Seymour saying Gary is with Clutch. Why am I not surprised? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's fishy. In some ways, I would say, look, you can have that double-edged sword, the greatness of Rich Paul getting you $43 million a year, Fred VanVleet. But in some ways, it's going to be dubious to some people and a big red flag, the representation of Clutch for some people. I would pay money to hear Bobby Webster and Masai Ujiri's unfiltered opinions on Clutch if they could get away with talking about them without having any repercussions. Just real quick, I would love to hear what Masai and Bobby really do feel about Rich Paul and his company, unfiltered and just absolutely honestly. I know they would never say anything public or even say anything, but if you actually could hear what they had to say about them, I'll bet you it'd be very interesting. I bet you it'd be very, very interesting to hear the unfiltered opinion of Masai Ujiri about Rich Paul. There may be some very big respect there, but also at the same time, you like, fuck you, you fuck face. It's kind of going on too, I'll bet. Fiercey saying, good morning, fam, and happy Monday. Despite the loss, I enjoyed the hustle by Wara. Yeah, Wara's awesome. I really do like Wara, but we don't have him under contract. And well, the price better be right. I know he wants to stay here. I know he would stay here and play for us because he is a Raptors fan. And in some ways, he's a real one. So I don't know. I value that. If we can pay a little bit of money and put a contract on Jordan Wara, I wouldn't be upset. If there's anybody on this team that I want to keep at this point that isn't under contract for next year, Jordan may be the one. The rest of them, they can go. They can go. Cool Cat saying OG left clutch. I wonder what's the details on the parting of ways. Fred VanVleet went clutch. He wanted leverage. Nick Nurse, same issue. Yeah, what I'll say about this is the thing with OG was I think him leaving clutch was more, all right, it had to do with Omar. Omar was Octagon, and that was OG's agent originally. And he was with Octagon. When Omar went and took the job with Clutch, he was he was just brought in as one of Omar's clients to be added to the Clutch roster. Now, I don't think OG ever really wanted to be represented by Clutch. It's just that his agent Omar went to them and took the job with them from Octagon. Well, when he started having overtures that he wanted to go to the Knicks, obviously he went CAA. And that's just the way it is at this point. In some ways, CAA is the Knicks organizational representation. And as soon as somebody signs with CAA, I'm just going to assume that their intention is to go to the Knicks at this point. In fact, I brought this up to Terrence Ross on his Twitch one day, and he said, that's true, Raptors Freak. If you're CAA, you probably are going to go to the Knicks. That's just how it is at this point. So as soon as OG signed with that, I think that it was mainly because he knew he wanted to go to the Knicks, and that's why he went CAA when he made the switch from Clutch to there. So, yeah. Yeah, the leverage thing with Fred, whatever. Rich Paul can come and talk crazy talk to these guys and say, I'll make you richer than you ever believe. And he did with Fred in some ways. You know, in some ways, the whole thing with Rich Paul, it probably had to do with Daryl Morey and things that Daryl Morey wanted to accomplish. And Rich Paul was trying to help him. And that's why he got Nick Nurse in the way he went. So let's see. All right, Angry Mexicans here. This is a Charlotte Hornets fan. A longtime Charlotte Hornets fan who comes in and talks to us sometimes. He's been respectful at times. Angry Mexican, welcome. Happy Easter, and hope you're doing well. Let's see. I hope you don't take this wrong, but you love too hard for individuals, coaches, and GMs and players are all replaceable. I'm sorry, but Masai for a while now hasn't done a good job. Accountability for all. Well, fuck you, Angry Mexican, after I said Happy Easter to you. Yeah, no, don't talk about our front office. Our front office is untouchable. If you're trying to make problems for our front office to get them in trouble, no, we ain't hearing it. Our front office is one of the best front offices in the league, and we're not trying to get them dislodged or anything like that. They've done a fantastic job considering the whole entire league's against them. There was a pandemic. They made us play in Tampa, and we've had all kinds of things happen to us that just aren't fair, honestly. And I think Coloco's the latest one. But yeah, okay, I love my team. I love my coach. I love my players. I love Scotty. I love Darko. I love Masai. I'm a Raptors fan, just like you. I don't know who you would love in the Hornets. Do you love LaMelo? Do you love Steve Ballmer? Or not Steve Ballmer, Steve Clifford? Do you love him? I mean, I'm seriously a Hornets fan. Come on, don't come in here and do this. You don't talk shit about Masai. Strike for you, my guy. But good morning. Fiercely said, Grady fire. Bruce Brown had a good night, but he is stressing me whenever he has the ball. Laugh out loud. Gary was also good, but I'm reluctant as he's inconsistent. Yeah, Gary stepped up, and in some ways, I was hoping Gary would have a really good game last night against Nick, because in some ways, I feel like in some ways Nick and him weren't totally at eye to eye all the time, and in some ways, Gary may have some angst against him about not playing him in certain ways. So it's like, Gary, work it out on him. To an extent, there was a little run where Gary went off and got 7 straight points in the game, and Jack started talking about if he gets 9, he breaks a record. No, I love seeing Gary take over in that little bit of time when he's scoring a bunch. I wish I could see more stretches like that more often, where Gary just fulfills buckets all of a sudden. Last year he did it. He did it more often last year. This year, not so much. In some ways, that makes me wonder that, Gary's going to play his ass off and overplayed by clutch client Nick Nurse. And this year under Darko, he's not totally playing as well as he was last year in certain ways. In some ways, weird ways. Infamous is saying, salute freaks. Think you're reading too much into this, Lex. I think the journey to return will be a long process. If he does return, it will be us. Don't let your JDR LeBron hatred blind you. No, I'm serious. I mean, listen, read that article, Infamous. Look at the article I put at the bottom and see if you think Coloco's coming back to the Raptors if he's healthy. He's not. He's not going to come back here. In fact, he's already set it up for us to be disappointed by saying he's looking forward to being on a new team. Look, I listen to people what they say, and what they say is what they mean often. And Nick Nurse meant something when he said something in the Philadelphia press conference last year, and it made sense, and it totally was what happened. Well, this is a similar thing. I feel like this is a Rich Paul media ploy that you say something and you kind of let the cat out of the bag. Like he said originally, I'm looking forward to being on a new team. And then the reporter kind of caught it and said, wait, what about the Raptors? Wouldn't you want to go back to the Raptors? He said, I would welcome coming back to the Raptors if that's the case. But that's an afterthought. It's a very similar ploy to what Nick did. Nick said, I'm looking forward to getting some time off and thinking about my career here in Raptors. The 10 years has been a long time. But what about the play-in, Nick? Wouldn't you want to go play like the play? Oh, yeah, the play-in. I want to make sure the Raptors go real far in the playoffs, in the play-in. That's what I'm saying. It's an afterthought. It's like, oh, you said something else first. The first thing on your mind was said, I'm ready to be on vacation. But wait, Nick, you have the play-in. Oh, yeah, the play-in. Yeah, we're going to try real hard with the Raptors. Sure. This is the same thing. It's like, oh, Christian, how are you doing? He's like, I really want to get back in the NBA. I'm hoping they'll let me come back health-wise. I'm really working hard, and I'm looking forward to being on a new team when I come back. Wait, Christian, do you want to go be on the Raptors? Oh, wait, yeah, I would be on the Raptors. I would possibly be on the Raptors. But that's not what he said. He's not intending to be coming back on the Raptors. You read that article, and you tell me what he intends, and that'll tell you enough right there. Yeah, I'm anti-LeBron, and I know some of y'all are okay with LeBron, but in this situation, this is not good for us in some ways. It is whatever. We're just going to have Waste and Jonte and Koloko this year at the center position, so be it. We'll cut it clean, and we'll be fresh next year. And like all y'all are saying, maybe we'll have that Purdue Boilermaker on our roster next year. Whatever it is, I know we've got 2 centers under contract for next year, Jakob Poeltl and Kelly Olynyk, and those are fantastic passing centers that really fit Darko's system. So whatever, we'll ride with this. But I just wanted to bring up the whole situation, where it's at with Koloko, since I don't think we all knew that this was where it was at this point. I didn't know this until yesterday. And I'm sure I'm informing a lot of y'all about the situation with Koloko in some ways that you did not realize either. So go read that article that I posted and see what happens. I like that y'all are trying to be positive and you think I'm kind of maybe being a little too speculative. And in some ways, that's a good balance for me. But in some ways, you can see where I'm kind of extrapolate and see what I'm saying could be possible too, right? You can see that, right? Cowboys saying, good morning, Lex and Raptor Freaks. Let's go, Raptors. Great job, Darko. That's right. Good job, Darko. We're proud of you. You're doing a good job. The assists keep coming. That's right. They keep coming. It doesn't matter if it's Tibbs or Nick Nurse's defense. The assists come in games against top-level defensive teams in the NBA. That is a sustainable system that's going to do even better when the talent comes back and does it. It's going to do so much better when we have our real players playing for us. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, Wayne saying, I looked at our game against the Bulls in the play-in last season and last game of the previous season against the Sixers. Nick Nurse did a hit job against his team in those games. He's a snake, no doubt. Yeah, he didn't try. He absolutely sat on his ass. He was not leading the team. He let them just kind of do their thing. In some ways, Fred was running the team himself on the court to a certain extent. And in some ways, he wasn't. It wasn't enough. Well, how do you lose at your home court when you're up 16 in the third quarter in a playing game that's your whole season? How do you just roll over and die and let yourself do that to the screams of young DeAndre DeRozan? Your coach purposefully was submarining it. And I'm telling you, a lot of educated NBA fans won't even see it. And they won't even think that it could be real. But I know it's real because I watched this team so closely over the last few years. And I know Nick Nurse really well. And I can tell when he wasn't trying. I could tell when he was doing a Vince Carter as a coach. Seriously. He won't admit it. He won't ever say it. But I know he did that shit. I know he did that shit. Fiercely saying Batum has been mid all season. Clippers and Sixers fans kept complaining, but last night he shot the lights out on us. He's a really valuable piece to their team. If they had more of a chance to get further in the playoffs, I don't think they do. In some ways, I'm not expecting Embiid to come back and be a factor to help them. If he comes back too late, he's going to hurt them. He's not going to be very good. He won't be in a rhythm. And in some ways, they're destined to lose in the playoffs no matter what. In fact, I'm hearing news this morning that Anunoby may not be coming back, that Josh Hart and the Knicks are getting to the point where they're like, we're not going to count on Mitchell, Julius, or OG coming back that we got to try and go into the playoffs with the team we've got right now. Because Mitchell re-hurt himself. He came back recently. We saw him come back against us, and he's already out again for the rest of the season because he re-hurt himself because they rushed him back. So there's a lot of impatience in Knicks land that's hurting their postseason chances because they're rushing guys back for games that don't matter, honestly. Instead, they should be resting them right up until the playoffs and giving them a couple gear up games right at the end. But nah, you guys want to get them back so quick. Yeah, you're going to hurt them even worse. That's your own damn fault. Yeah, but Batum's a very valuable player for the playoffs. He's such a smart player. In some ways, he didn't get played right for France or other teams that have had him recent years, but Nick knows how to use him. He's a Nick Nurse kind of player. And he would be so valuable for them if they were going to make a deep playoff run, but they're not. I really don't see it. I really don't see it. You guys are in trouble. You really are, Sixers. Because in some ways, I don't even know if you'll get through the play-in. Seriously, I really don't think you will in some ways. Cowboys saying angry Mexican diss. Messiah's doing awesome. That's right. That's right, Cowboy. That's right. Stand up for your GM and get out of here, Hornets fan. Come on now. Who are you talking to us like that, Hornets fan? Come on now. Infamous saying, let's be honest. If we just had Quickly or RJ, we win that game. That's what I'm saying. I mean, it looked like RJ might play yesterday, but then maybe they were like, you know what? If we play RJ, we might win. Nick was daring him too by sitting Maxey during the day. Yeah, I was like, man, in some ways, I know that they sat Maxey as a precaution. In some ways, Nick's like, if we do lose to the Raptors, I want an excuse to say, well, we didn't have Embiid and Maxey. It is what it is. I mean, I feel like RJ could have played yesterday, and he would have had a huge impact in helping us. He definitely would have. Cool Cat saying, Lex, I no longer want Raptors to be a charity team. We need length and players that have basketball fundamentals at a minimum. With you on both of those things. I think they should be prerequisites. I don't want to be a small team. I don't want to have a small backcourt of Van Vliet and Lowry because those two guys were special, and that was a special time. And having a two small guard backcourt is stupid. It's absolutely stupid. That's why I don't want a player like JFL because he's undersized in this league. And if he's on our roster, he's just taking a spot. We want length. Most of this league is 6'5" and up. And we need people to be taller than me that play on the Raptors. I'm sorry. They need to be taller than Lex. And I'm with that. I want people that have more fundamentals too, smarter players that have intangibles. You see the intangibles of people like Grady Dick and Scotty Barnes with their basketball IQs as young players. And then you got like great older leaders like Kelly Olynyk who have very good basketball IQ and smarts and sight around the court. That's the kind of stuff I want. I want people making the right decisions. We saw a blown layup by Javon Freeman Liberty on a break where Bruce Brown handed him the ball and it did not go down. That's the kind of shit that I don't like. There's fundamentally flaws in JFL's game. He has fundamental flaws. And that's part of the reason why I won't sign off on it. Nako saying, I'm sure there's things Messiah wish he did, but I think he's got unlucky before he's made bad decisions. Yeah, in some ways, it's not about, he's doing everything he can in his power. It's not like he's doing things that are dumb, like he made a mistake because he was ignorant to a rule. It's not because he's screwing up. These guys are really sharp, and they really know everything that they're supposed to do. I feel like this is such a new thing, this fitness to play panel, that I have not heard about this in any kind of way. And I'm wondering if this is like such a new thing that in some ways Messiah and Bobby dealing with it this year was the first time. And it's kind of like, what the fuck is this, NBA? Why are you throwing this in my face all of a sudden? This is weird. Like normally in the past, we could just have him be on the IL and we just have him around. Why are you taking him from us as far as he's not allowed to play for us anymore in this situation and all this kind of stuff? I just think it's very screwy and just kind of like suspicious is what I'm saying. I feel like there's a lot of bad luck for the Raptors for sure. We won the championship and well, conveniently, there's a lot of bad luck coming at us. Yeah, conveniently or just out of the blue. Bad luck, right? Bad luck. Yeah, it's luck. Sure. Fiercely saying, Wayne, despite Malachi being subpar, Darko kept playing him. I believe he's doing the same for McDaniels, maybe hoping another team will pick him. I do agree he's bad. Well, in some ways, I like him playing right now because we have no size. And even if those guys are skinny and they don't have any weight to them, their length is good out on the court. That was the most I felt happy on the court last night was when Jalen and Mo were out there. They made our team look like a regular size team, and actually we had a size team that was actually sized with them, that we could play eye to eye with them. Most of the time when we start a 4 guard lineup, which I absolutely hate, I do not agree with starting Javon Freeman Liberty. I would have started Jordan Wara instead with the group that we started last night, just because I don't agree with starting 4 guards. In reality, Grady is a guard. And right now he's our power forward as in size. Kelly's the only big we're playing. And then we start Bruce Brown, Gary Trent Jr., and Javon Freeman Liberty. That's too small. In some ways, he should be either starting Jordan Wara, Mo Gee, or Jalen McDaniels even. And I'm going to go against what Wayne's saying. Yeah, we need Jalen right now because we have no size. And even if he's skinny as hell, he's not totally good. We need that length out there on the court in some ways for defensive reasons and rebounding reasons. So that's one of the reasons why we got to play Jalen right now is we have no centers. In some ways, you can blame Jonte for that one. Jalen may not be playing right now if Jonte Porter was an idiot. Yeah, I could see Jalen not getting minutes if Porter was getting those minutes right now. So in some ways, that's part of it right there. That's part of it right there. G saying front office and Darko have said this is a 3 to 5 year process now. I think people need to pay attention to what we are being told. Every team goes through cycles. Golden State will age out and start over too. Yeah. And I'm with this. I'm totally fine with this. I just want to make sure the league is fair. I think that's all we want is we want the refs to call it consistently and fair. We want the league to be fair to the Raptors franchise. In some ways, we have a history of getting shafted by the league, whether it's Allen Iverson, whether it's all kinds of crazy shit that has happened to our team that just has not seemed fair compared to the teams in the U.S. I'm just saying, it does seem like there's, Darko and Masai and Bobby have talked about the advantages and disadvantages of being the only team in Canada. Well, there's advantages and there are disadvantages. And that's what I'm trying to say here. David's asking, what the fuck did Loco do? Well, read that article I posted, David, and the link now near the end of the comments. And you tell me how you feel about Christian. He said he's looking forward to being on a new team and when he gets healthy, is what he said. Mike saying, gee, facts. The Cavs went through it. Miami did as well. Yeah, all teams are going to go through this, and they'll go through different periods of it. Washington, whatever. These teams have been going through for a long time. It is what it is. And I understand there's a natural process of rebuilding to come back to being where you are. But hey, listen, I'm going to try and help for success as soon as possible. Then next year, with our guys healthy and the barbecue lineup, I feel like we've got a good chance to win next year. It may not be right away, though. It may not be. We may need to lose more than we win next year just because that's just how it all happens. But we'll see. We'll get it out of the mud over time, slowly but surely. Hopefully faster than slowly, though. We'll see. Yeah. Infamous saying, Koloko didn't do anything, Lex. Is reading too much into an interview he did where he hasn't ruled out a return to the league. Yeah, that may be true. That may be true. I don't like his verbiage. You tell me what those quotes say. He's looking forward to playing for a new team. He specifically said that. He didn't say he's looking forward to coming back and playing for the Raptors. In some ways, that's bullshit to me, honestly. In some ways, y'all can be mad at me for being mad at Koloko because maybe you love Koloko. In some ways, I'm just going to say, in the end, he may look like a snake, and y'all be like, man, Lex was right. Damn it. Why didn't I listen to Lex that day? Let's see. Fiercely saying, I'm having a hard time being mad at Koloko as it was established blood clots were the reason why we let him go. You may be right, Lex, but most people will logically think he's allowed to go elsewhere. Well, I think that's not logical to me when you draft someone. Either way, all right, I'll let this go. I should have anger about this. In some ways, Cowboy wanted Koloko to come back so bad. He's talking about it in the stream last night. Koloko comes back. I said, Cowboy, he's not coming back. I had to message him and tell him he's not coming back. He's not coming back to Toronto. So I don't want to break Bradley's heart that his favorite player that he's been waiting for, he put him on his fantasy team and all this stuff, is a sellout, and he's going to turn his back on our franchise. Seriously, that is what this is, y'all. Seriously, if he was a real one, he would come back and play for the Raptors and honor him being drafted by us and being a part of our plan. Masai had plans for him to be a developed center coming up in our system. And then all of a sudden we lost his rights because of some crazy ass fitness to play panel. Do you guys not understand why I'm upset about this? I'm not necessarily upset at Koloko or saying he's a liar, that he has blood clots or anything. I'm just saying that the way this situation is panning out and developed over the last year is fucked up. And it's not right. If Chet Holmgren can sit out his rookie year and he's still going to be on the Thunder the next year, why the fuck can't Koloko sit out this year and still be on the Raptors next year? That's what I'm trying to say here, y'all. And in some ways, look, I don't want to be a bad guy and be like an asshole and say, oh, you're being a hater on a guy who's career threatening injuries. I don't know the situation, but in some ways, like I said, if he shows up in the NBA in another jersey next year, yeah, I'll be feeling what I feel, and that's my right. That's my right. Yeah. If you're just saying since we waived him first, well, I don't even understand why we did that or why we had to have to do that. I don't know. I don't know all the details exactly. If it was because it's a cost cutting move and Masai and Bobby did it, so be it. But still, in some ways, this pisses me off because in some ways we wanted to know that we had this center in our back pocket to come back if he is able to resume his career. Like I just don't understand where the reasoning in this is. In sports over the years, if players are not able to play, all of a sudden the team that had him on their books is the one that gets the first chance to get them back. If anything, it should be a restricted free agent situation where if he's okay, you come back, Christian, you can go test the market, see what they want to pay you, and the Raptors want to match it, they get to keep you. That's what it should be, honestly, if it's really going to be like that. Fiercely saying, if it does come out there was manipulation or sketchy behind the scenes activities, then I'll change my opinion. All right. Once again, I don't trust Rich Paul and Clutch. Fuck them. Koloko, you're dubious at best right now, is what I'll say. You're dubious at best. We'll see how it goes down. G saying the other side of it, does front office want him back? Imagine him saying, yes, I'm all in on the Raps, and front office says no. He just lost all leverage for himself. Okay, these are good point of views. And this is why I really enjoy doing this stream with you guys, is because you can flesh out and make me see all kinds of different perspectives I may have not taken into account. Still, I don't like this. I don't like this. I really see the ploy of Rich Paul somewhere in this. Seriously, guys. I really do see it somewhere in there. This may be right. You may be like, you know what? Masai and Bobby did the calculating in their heads, and they're like, you know what? The risk of him having this issue coming back and back, maybe we should just cut ties with him now. And that's just it. It could be that it's like, look, this could be an issue for years, and it may pop up and come back, and all of a sudden, you know, we're depending on him, and all of a sudden he can't be cleared. And in some ways, it's not even they don't have any control over it. It's like this panel will say, yeah, he can't play. And it's like they have a power. The NBA has all of a sudden has a power to say, yeah, this young man can't play anymore. You know, this panel wasn't in existence in the 80s. They didn't have the medical technology. There could have been players running around the NBA that had blood clot issues, and they wouldn't even known. And so, like, I mean, in some ways, you can say, well, Lex, that's good that they know now, and they can find the medical issue and help him with it instead of the time before. It's just fishy to me. Anytime the NBA does something, adjudicates something weird, that it just doesn't seem like it's fair, or I have no other basis of looking at it in another example in the league, I don't know how to deal with this. If somebody could find me another example where the fitness to play panel came into power about adjudicating on a player's future and can show me something where it happened to another franchise, then maybe it'll help me with this, what's going on. Maybe it'll help in some ways. Yeah. Cool Cat saying, where can I find information on Christian Koloko? I searched on Twitter and IG. The article is in the link in the bottom of this chat. You can look through this chat. I have posted it myself, and just click on it. It's from a Tucson, Arizona newspaper, and the article came out on the 18th of February of not last month, but just a day and a month ago. Yeah. Let's see. David's saying, wow, that shit never stops hitting the fan this year, huh? Sheesh. Yeah, we don't have any rights to Koloko as of right now. He's an unrestricted free agent. If he's healthy next year, he can sign with whatever team he wants to, is what I'm mad about right now. Wayne's saying Gary can stay definitely on a rookie contract. Mike's saying waiving Koloko, we free up the money for new guys coming in. If Koloko wasn't going to be able to play in the third year as well, then waiving him opens money in a spot. Okay, this is the stuff I need. Mike, thank you. You're an all-star on this channel, and I'm going to give you another dunk. Actually, I'm going to give you a three-pointer because you're really making some sense to me. 16 for you, my guy. 16 dunks now at this point. Fiercely saying, right, G, good point. What if Koloko is being cautious in his statements? Dennis wanted to stay and said he never got traded. Boom, got traded at deadline. Yeah, but that's different. In some ways, Dennis saying that and then him getting traded, that's not a big deal. I mean, I hate that he got traded in some ways. I get it. The players want to have power themselves and the teams want to have power. There's leverage issues, business practices, but still, it's fishy as fuck the way he said it. You guys go read that article and see if you feel the same way as me. It's obvious he's put us in his rear view and he has no Raptors in his future. I'm just going to say that, guys. I'm just going to say that. If he, you know what, he could have worded it differently. It's like, I'm looking forward to coming back and playing the NBA again. He didn't have to say new team. He could have just said, I'm looking forward to getting my health back and trying to reclaim my NBA career. He could have left out the part that he might be going to a new team. He could have just said, I'm just looking forward to come back. The fact that he specifically says, I'm looking forward to playing for a new team very much designates that he's not coming back to Toronto, guys, in any kind of way. That's what, because that's his intention. He stated his intention in his words. And that's what I'm saying. You can say things and not mean to. In some ways, y'all say, well, you misread things all the time, like you read too much into things. No, people are very telling. It's just like in poker. They have tells that tell you things. And his statement and his words, you can tell what he's saying. He's saying he's going to be moving to another team. He's not coming back to Toronto. And that's very clear right there. Monique's saying stars of the game: Gary, Jordan, Kelly. Bonus if I had one, Bruce. Even though he bugs everyone. yeah. I had to give him a star. Begrudgingly, I had to give Bruce Brown a star. He was too excellent. He shot too well last night. He really did. All right, Mexican. Let's see how you're doing, Angry Mexican. All right, see, G, I know I'm going to get blocked because Raptor Freak loves Masai, but I'm just being honest. If you just look since 2019, tons of different players, different coach, a lot of failure in the draft. Now another 3 to 5 years. Listen, Angry Mexican, you don't know what's going on in our ecosystem. You seriously don't, my guy. Listen, just worry about the Hornets. You guys have enough of a mess to deal with over there and your own stuff. If you do not understand what's going on with Toronto on a day-to-day basis, you're not educated enough to understand our opinion on front office and why we still stand by them and think that they're absolutely one of the best in the league. I mean, they do polls all the time. And when it comes out that we're in the top 2 always as in front offices. So why do you think we value our front office? We know our front office is good. Our front office has had winning for like over a decade. It's just recently we bottom out in the natural cycle of franchises and how they do things. Now, don't expect us to bottom out and sit around like y'all do and y'all's team. No, we're going to come back up. And we know the architect for figuring out the second Toronto Raptors championship is Masai Ujiri once again. He's proven that he can do it before. Why wouldn't we think he can do it again? But y'all haven't even had any kind of coach or GM in your franchise do jack shit. So what the fuck do you know about a good front office, motherfucker, is what I would say to you, Angry Mexican. I'm not even going to give you a strike. I'm just going to put pure facts on your ass. Yeah, what do you know about winning, Charlotte Hornets fan? How about that? Tom Duke saying, good morning. Yeah, adios, Gary. Unless we pay peanuts, you won't get blocked, Angry Mex. You're being sensible. He's not being sensible, Tom. He's trying to come at our GM, and I'm going to defend him. I'm going to defend our front office. That's right. G saying, Angry Mexican, you are entitled to your opinion. Orlando took 14 years. Denver and Bucks took 8 to win a chip. After getting Joker and Giannis, OKC took years. Yes, rebuilds takes years. The thing is, this is the same shit with like, they want us to lose our good people. And Angry Mexican does not like our front office running our team because he knows they're very good. So he sees problem and dysfunction with our team. He wants to lay in his little voice from the outside, from shitty little Hornets land, and try and get some kind of opinions out there to say, yeah, he's not doing too good. No, I don't agree with you. And most sensible Raptors fans don't agree with you. Some dumbasses do, and they're idiots. And I'm never going to be on the side of Ed Rogers III, who wants Masai out. Fuck that shit. I stand with my guy, Masai, and I have his back till the end, the bitter, bitter end. I want him to be with us forever, as long as he wants to be here. As he said, he will be here as long as we'll have him. And I'm having him here as long as he wants to be here. He can continue to run my team as long as he wants to. He's a proven bona fide winner, and he hasn't lost jack shit. It's just he's navigating a ship through the choppiest and craziest, dangerous seas of the NBA that maybe a NBA franchise has ever had to deal with in the history of the whole entire league. Seriously. Some of the things the Raptors have had to deal with in the last 5 years since our championship have been unrealistically, unreasonably crazy and unforeseeable, called a pandemic and a relocation to Tampa, Florida for a season. There's a lot of different shit going on here. Seriously. Infamous saying Jalen McDaniels needs to go. It's not his talent. It's his laziness and low ball IQ. He gives off really bad energy. Please get him out of here. I'm going to say a compliment to him just real quick. That play that was off the jump ball was hilarious. First of all, Grady Dick tried to pass it to Jordan Nwora, but the ball bounced off the Sixers' foot. I think it was Kelly Oubre, and it went to Jalen McDaniels. Jalen McDaniels caught the ball, but he was in the air and he kind of fumbled the ball while he was in the air, but he managed with crazy good athleticism to do a crazy up and under like Michael Jordan would do. It's insane. The talent that he showed in that moment off that layup was absolutely impressive. But I agree with what you're saying here. In some ways, he does seem lazy. In some ways, he does seem like he's not trying as hard or putting in the initiative to be the better player that he could be. In some ways, Jalen McDaniels, bro, this summer is an important summer for you. And if you can get some progress on getting yourself more fundamentally sound and playing just very, very quality basketball in better ways, maybe untap some of your very, very good physical athleticism, man, you might have a spot next year. Some of y'all don't want him on this team, but it sounds like he's going to be on our team because he's under contract next year. But who knows? Maybe we waive him. Maybe we cut him. I don't know. We'll have to see. This summer's going to be a lot of change still. Infamous saying Kobe, I think, is a better prospect than JFL. Kobe plays better on both ends of the court. I agree wholeheartedly with this. Kobe Simmons has a much longer wingspan than JFL. In some ways, there's an astuteness and there's a fundamentalness to Kobe Simmons that I really, really like. And but in some ways, I'm going to say we can do better. We don't need G League guys coming on our team next year. These guys are playing right now. They're getting to play their NBA dream and playing the NBA right now, but that doesn't mean they get to stay. In some ways, this may be just a tryout at the end, and boom, you guys, you're going to be in G League next year, or if you feel like taking the money, go to Europe, stuff like that. I mean, that's just how it is. Kobe Simmons is awesome. I'm glad he's getting some extended grind with the Raptors at the end of the season, and I wish him well. I really do. I don't know if he should be on our team next year, though, because I want quality. I'm like Wayne. I want to get rid of this dead wood, and I want to start over. I want to have a really sound, awesome team this summer through free agency and the draft and maybe some trades too. So let's see. David saying, I find it quite funny when someone thinks Masai is somehow responsible for every single thing that doesn't go our way. Yeah, I know. Seriously. I mean, they don't understand the job is so hard. It's not like a video game where you guys go in there and you do 2K and you move trades and stuff. And, oh, it's so easy and stuff. No, there's a lot of real world implications, real life stuff that GMs have to deal with. As I've said before, they live on the moon. We don't live on the moon. We don't know what it takes to live on the moon and be a GM in the NBA. And a lot of the ideas that, like, you know, first of all, part of the GM is just to do damage control. It's just to take care of crazy shit that happens, like a Jonte Porter or a Christian Koloko. Some ways it's being flexible and understanding, you know, we have a plan. We want things to go a certain way. And it'd be awesome if it ideally goes the way we hoped. But if there's crazy curveballs or changes in the path and things that we just didn't foresee, we have to be able to adapt and change things. Do you think we knew the pandemic was going to happen? Do you think that we knew we were going to have to go down to Florida and do what we were going to do? No, we did not plan any of that. It all went really quickly and happened fast. And the fact that we did things the way we did, in some ways, is a huge success because our franchise could be in way worse shape if we were the Hornets and they had gone through what we've gone through. Yeah, they'd be in shambles. They'd probably win like 4 games this year, honestly, seriously. So part of it being a GM is keeping the ship afloat amongst high, crazy-ass currents, dangerous, treacherous seas, and all kinds of crazy shit happening, whether it's like agents being nefarious like Rich Paul. Maybe it's like trying to juggle your salary cap with free agents and figuring it out. You know, some ways there's some things that are on the download that aren't for everybody in the public to know that we have to deal with as a team in our front office. And I think David's exactly right. It's funny when people think everything that goes wrong is Masai and Bobby's fault. Koloko's blood clots are Masai and Bobby's fault. Jonte Porter gambling on games is Masai and Bobby's fault. The pandemic is Masai and Bobby's fault. Okay, casuals and idiots. No, these guys are the guys who've been keeping us going with the ship through all that crazy shit in a good positive direction. It could have gotten a lot darker and a lot more negative and bad considering how much bad stuff has been happening. Seriously. David's saying injuries. Exactly. Do we control the officials? Can we control blood clots or fake doctor notes? Can we do this? Can they do this? No, they can't, David. And that's why I'm going to give you a 3-pointer for speaking facts, speaking straight up facts that a lot of people need to hear. 61 for David this year. 61. Yeah. Fiercely saying Lex won't block you, angry Mexican. You're not being malicious or hateful, just giving your opinion in a respectful manner. Yeah. I don't want to block people unless I really, really, really need to. because they're being disruptive. In some ways, I'll talk to Angry Mexican. In some ways, he wants to open up my ability to make fun of the Charlotte Hornets franchise. I will. I will. Let's see. David's saying the goal of the NBA, to anyone sensible, is quite clear. Masai is one of the best GMs in NBA history. Yeah, they want him to leave. And this is the thing. Everybody wants him to leave Toronto, but if he does, he's not going to go run another team. I already know it. He can't. In some ways, he's had his dance with us, and nothing will ever match the romance and the feeling and connection that Masai Ujiri has to the Toronto Raptors franchise. He cannot do what Nick did. Nick can be a little fucking turncoat, a little snake ass bitch, but Masai could never do this. He's a real one. It's not like he could turn around and go work for the Knicks. He's already said fuck the Knicks. He hates them. He said fuck Brooklyn. He'd never go run Washington Wizards. Those jokers down there think that. And if Angry Mexican's doing this because he thinks that Masai would come and run the Charlotte Hornets, you are fucking hilarious. You need to go to a Comedy Zone and get on stage with a microphone if you think that that's actually a reality that could happen. Yeah. No, Masai's already clearly said that if he's not going to be running the Raptors, he's going home. He's going to go back to Africa, and he's going to help run the Basketball Africa League over there. And he'll just retire in Nigeria. And he'll run that league and be a very powerful person running the Basketball Africa League. And yeah, he'll be the president of it. He'll be the Adam Silver of that league over there. I'll bet you. That's the next move for him. So all the other teams that are trying to dislodge Masai from the Raptors because you have a dream of him running your team, get over yourself. It'll never happen because this tango that he dances here in Toronto is his last tango. And if he goes from here, he's going either to politics or running that league over in Africa. I'm telling you right now. Yeah. Let's see. David's saying, yeah, okay, I already read that. Mike's saying, shaking my head, not gonna lie, the difference from the raps before Masai and after Masai are like night and day. People like to criticize, but they never have any better solutions. Masai is the reason these guys are even here. Exactly. Half these people wouldn't even be fans if Masai Ujiri was never hired by Tim Lewicki. Yeah. Mike, spitting facts. If us old heads that remember the pre-Masai days, the days of Colangelo, the days of Babcock, the days of Grunwald. Yeah, we understand this way better than others. You guys have only known what the Masai's been around, you newer fans. And Masai's been around this whole time in the last 10 years. And you know the championship feelings. You just want those championship feelings so bad that you'll stab the man who gave you those championship feelings in the back because you think that he's not good enough to get you back there. You idiots. He may be our only chance to get back there. And the fact that y'all want to stab him in the back and get him out of here so bad, Masai haters, you're idiots. He is our best chance to win our second championship. And y'all need to support him and protect him at all costs. Yeah, Fiercey's dapping David. I like it. Rely on Masai. That's right, Seymour. Tom Duke. That's right. Oh, Chris is saying obey. What is this? Shepard Fairley, Andre the Giant. Let's see. David's saying, wait, Angry Mexican is faulting Masai for having multiple coaches over the years. That's bizarre, man. Just bizarre. That's not even true, though. We've had 3 coaches while Masai's been in charge. He's been in charge for 12 years. How many fucking coaches have y'all had in Hornets in that time period? Yeah, shut the fuck up, man. Seriously. You guys come talk to me from your standpoint of your fan base and your team, Hornets. You can't talk shit to us in any aspect. Seriously. We've got you on everything. How many coaches have you had since 2010, dumbass? Tell me that. How many coaches have you had? Masai's had 3 coaches since 2010. How many coaches have you had, Hornets? You fucking dumbass. You've had Steve Clifford come around twice already. That's how many coaches you've had, dumbass. Yeah, that's how I'll burn Hornets fan. If he wants to be in here and put his little 2 cents about Masai Ujiri, yeah, you can get it back, bro. You can get it back. That's right. The fucking GROAT is Masai Ujiri. I'm with that. I like that. I like that a lot. That's right. All right, David, you really want more dunks? I'll give you a dunk for that one too. You're at 62 now. Yeah, I like that you called Masai the GROAT. That's right. Infamous saying, Angry Mexican, Kawhi changed the direction of the team after the chip. The front office is doing the best with what they have to work with. Yeah, in some ways, that was one of the first dominoes that was really disappointing after our championship. That honestly, if he had come back, we would have repeated. And there's no denying that. I even think with the pandemic and the break off in the bubble with Kawhi, we would have won. We would have gotten past the Celtics, and we probably would have beat the Lakers' ass if we were in the finals against them instead of Miami. So, yeah, I mean, that was the first step in the wrong direction, and we had no control over that. We tried our damnedest. They did Kawhi and dine. They did all kinds of stuff to try and make it work to have Kawhi come back. But Kawhi made that decision, and in some ways he probably regrets it. In some ways, it's like, yeah, Uncle Dennis, we're going back to California. And that's the bullshit. That's the bullshit that started it. Fiercely saying, I compare our team to OKC in terms of rebuild. I still believe the players are auditioning, and like Lex, hope the front office picks the right ones who will complement the big four, aka Scotty, RJ, IQ, and Yak. Yeah, and Grady and Kelly, because those are our guys for sure. That those six are for sure going to be on our team next year, and Abaji hopefully too. Yeah, I could see possibly Abaji being in that group too. Let's see. Chris is saying, I like JFL's 7 rebounds, and I felt he was getting hacked by Lowry. I don't know, people. I'm still riding with JFL. If we sign a better guard, fine. But JFL for life, more play making needed. But I'd rather sign Amari Moore. Amari Moore is taller than him. He has longer arms. And in some ways, he is a really good player. I can see Amari Moore blowing up in the next year or so in some ways. If you guys are listening to me, Messiah and Bobby, or Raptors organization in any kind of way, I'm big on Amari Moore. Very, very big on him. Watch him. And then also Kobe is doing something right now, showing that he may have NBA chops. It's just that, it's 26. He's older. In some ways, he's very similar to Jeffrey Doughton Jr., who we saw in the game last night. It makes me mad to see Jeffrey out there. In some ways, he looks so good. He's such a tall guard. He's a good defender. In some ways, him being on Nick's team and being over there with him, it kind of upsetted me last night, seeing Jeffrey in the Sixers jersey. Because in some ways, that's a guy I valued, and I wished he had been on the Raptors this year instead of Malachi Flynn. But that wasn't the case in how we could do things with that's why I don't want to tie things up in a player like JFL, because we saw how much we tied up into Malachi Flynn, and we lost opportunities because of him. So, yeah, he's not the right one, Chris. I know you're really big on him, but he's not the right one. Just trust me on this. You don't win championships with a player like JFL being in your rotation. He's not worth going forward with. He's a great G League player. He's a great B-ball scorer. He could go down to Rucker Park and probably drop 60 on those motherfuckers. But in some ways, he may need to go overseas and make a huge, big payday. The NBA dream has been realized. You played in the NBA JFL, but there may not be very much NBA games left for you after this. And that you need to go get a big payday and go play in Europe or go play in China. Go be like Stephon Marbury, man. You can make a huge amount of money and be a god over in that continent. I'm telling you. Cowboy's saying, and doing a great job, Messiah. That's right. Imba's saying, drafting Zach will be a huge mistake. He's way too slow for the NBA, and his footwork is horrible. People are drinking the Kool-Aid because he's Canada. I mean, I'm going to disagree with you, Infamous. I'm going to say a lot of different things about this. If Yao Ming could play in this league, Zach Edey can play in this league. If Shaquille O'Neal can play in this league, Zach Edey can play in this league. If Jakob Poeltl can play in this league, Zach Edey can play in this league. I'm not worried about his foot speed. In some ways, it's not going to matter. He's a dominant player. In some ways, the BS that's out there about him not being able to play in the NBA is subterfuge by the media to hide him and maybe hurt his position in the draft this year. In some ways, they don't want him to be an overwhelming top 1 pick because they don't want one of the worst teams to draft him. If they can make him a secret on the down low, you'll see a team like the Celtics or the Lakers in the middle of the round try and pick him and steal him and get them in their system. You've got to understand there's a certain amount of media work being put on Zach Edey's reputation and whether he's going to be good in the NBA or not. Certain people think he will. Certain people don't think he will. And some of that is a manipulation to manipulate his position and where he will be projected in the draft. And I will say this. I'm going to listen to Shaq. I said this the other day. If Shaq thinks that Zach has got Shaq skills, well, he's going to be in the NBA. And Shaquille O'Neal is a good scout for this on that particular kind of level of dominance and that kind of player. Shaq is that epitome of that kind of player. And if he can see himself and Zach and he thinks he can make it, I'm not going to go against Shaq because he would know. He would know. I think that the bonus of him being Canadian is, sure, you could say that's the Kool-Aid and we just want him because of that. Sure, that's part of it. But it's also a really, really good bonus that's actually very nice to have on the team. There's all kinds of reasons. Once again, he's going to be practicing all summer with RJ and Kelly anyway. So why not just draft him on the Raptors so he can continue to practice with Kelly and RJ throughout the NBA season also. It's good for Team Canada, and it's also good for the Raptors in international play also. So Fiercely saying Grady is safe. In my opinion, he's staying for sure. Kelly also staying. I have a good feeling about Wara as well. The rest I can't predict. Well, Grady's on his rookie contract. He can't go anywhere, and Kelly just did an extension to stay for sure next year. That's why we know they're a part of the next couple of years for sure. Yeah, Wara is an unrestricted free agent. He could go anywhere, depending on the price. It will be depending on whether we keep him or not. If he wants to go make more money and play for somebody else, well, so be it. But if he wants to come here and maybe we pay him something fair, he could stay in Toronto. It may be very convenient for Jordan because he's from Buffalo and he does like the Raptors a lot. So I could see him having favor in making his decision towards us this summer. We'll have to see. All signs are there. And it doesn't hurt that Masai's best friends with Jordan's dad. It really, really doesn't hurt. It's funny. Jordan's talking about his dad in the post-game interview, saying his dad's going to be very critical of him and he's going to tell him everything he did wrong. He says, I'm going to come out of this interview room. My dad's just going to unleash his critique on me when I walk through this door, is what he said at his post-game interview last night. G saying Kawhi and Gasol, rentals for a chip, left the talent drain. They tried to recover but couldn't. Drafted Scotty and now building around him. OKC got SGA 5 years ago. Now they're legit. Yeah, we'll just see how the timeline is. In some ways, Scotty made such huge leaps and bounds this year that in some ways, I don't mind waiting a little bit, but I think we're going to be faster than some people think. I don't know. Either way, we're going to take it as it comes. This channel will go on every day, no matter what, and we will take it as it comes. We'll just try and be positive and root for the team in the right way as real Raptor fans would. And honestly, there will be losses. There will be wins, and we will figure it all out over time. And we'll just be fans and just enjoy watching the Raptors because we're fans. And honestly, even though, this has been a tough season, there's been a lot of enjoyment in watching the games, certain plays, certain players, certain things happening. Grady Dick. Yeah. Let's see. Smooth saying, I give the front office a pass for this year. There's been a lot of quality over the years. Losing like this is gross, but keep the faith. Well, I really honestly still feel like this is a huge fallout from Nick Nurse's fuckery. That this is just a write-off year because it's a transition year of a new coach that we had to get emergency-wise. We weren't planning on changing our coach. It's just Nick really went off the rails and totally screwed up our master plan. In some ways, he really screwed things up. As much as Tampa set us back, in some ways, we could say Nick Nurse being a double agent and doing the fuckery he did last year is also a thing that has set us back this season. So, I mean, I blame Nick a lot for our current year this year, because he really fucked us over in a lot of ways. And in some ways, it's sad that he had such a evil, like, it's not evil. It's like just a disingenuous person last year, that he wasn't really a real honest person. He was very much lying and very much doing very dubious, fucked up shit. And I know it's all because of Clutch and Rich Paul. And that's why I'm really suspicious about Koloko once again, guys. Nako saying, I want to see what happens with Oliver Ryu for next year. Yeah, we looked at him a little bit. I thought he was too slow. I thought he was a little too lumbersome. Yeah. G saying, nope, Zach is now quicker and does other things like rebound, box out, and set high screens to make up for speed. Joker is not quick, but has high IQ in passing. Exactly. And Zach's going to build his range out from the paint. I have a feeling he's going to have a three-point shot in the next 2 years. Watch. I'll bet you money he will. I've seen him shoot some threes for practice for Team Canada. I think he made 1 3 at FIBA World Cup last year. So, I mean, the things with him that develop are not out of the question. He's a smart guy, and has the aptitude, and he's working hard. Yeah. Why couldn't Zach develop further in certain areas that may be weaknesses for him right now? He showed that aptitude last year because he said he was too slow going in the draft last year. He said, well, I'm going to stay at Purdue and work on that. And boom, he saw improvement over the last year, and his draft stock went up. Some people last year were saying, yeah, he's definitely can't play in the NBA. He's too slow. Well, he heard them, and he worked really hard this past year to get his foot speed and his agility and up and down the court a lot better this year. And it's showing. It is showing. Duke saying, ironically, every time I do the draft simulation on Tankathon, being in 7th moves up more than being in 6th. Being in 7th comes up more. That's because the chances of us getting 7th are actually higher than us keeping our pick. The percentage chance is like 45 to 55. 45, we keep our pick, and 55% we don't. So if this happens this way, it just happens this way. In some ways, it's a chance. It's almost 50% that we will keep it, but it's not. There's more higher chance that we will lose our pick, guys. I need to keep telling you guys the truth. I said 75% chance we're going to finish in 6th, worse, and that's true. But the percentage to keep our pick is different. It's like 45% chance that we'll land in the top 6 picks. And then the other 55 is after. And Duke Rocks is doing simulations, and we keep landing on the 7th spot. Yeah. Just real quick, I want to honor and talk about the teams from yesterday that made it to the Final Four in our Yahoo Fantasy League. Very good job by Peter beating me in the first round, getting to the next round. He will be playing against Duke in the next round. Duke Rocks, our champion from last year, has made it to the Final Four, defeating the WNBA champion MK yesterday in a close matchup. So MK, I will be playing you in the consolation bracket. And Peter will be playing Jason Dukes, our defending champion. On the other side of things, Raymond Jacob gave a valiant effort at the 8th seed against number 1 David, but David did overcome him in the end, and he is in the other spot on the Final Four against Cunnin 2 NBA. That's right. I don't even remember whose team that is. Is that Seymour, or who is that team? The Cunnin 2 NBA team. I don't remember whose team that is because somebody told me who it was, but I've lost track of who it is. So somebody wants to tell me HC. Who is HC? Maybe I should need to investigate a little bit more. Who is HC? Who's running this team? If you are cutting into NBA, let me know who you are again, because that's the one team I lost track of who it was. But they're in the Final Four against David. David and Peter, the Saborin brothers, are in there, and Jason Dukes and Cunnin. And good job, Dick Picks, even though you didn't win your matchup too. You're against Raymond Jacobs. So, yeah, that's the Final Four this week. And then next week will be championship week, the final two going against each other. But if you're consolation, you get a chance to still play right now. Good job, Jason. Still a chance to defend your title and take home the championship trophy and ring that I got here, given to us by Commissioner J for the champion. Yeah. Yeah, let's keep going. G saying Gasol was not quick and neither was Shaq. The post-up game is making a comeback, but importantly, his rebounding. Hang on, it jumped ahead. Let me make sure. All right, where is it? I want to make sure I don't miss any comments, and I was on a G comment just now. Okay, where is it? G. Wow, lots of comments, and if we need a cut off for sure. Gasol was not quick, neither was Shaq. The post-up game is making a comeback, but more importantly, his rebounding is what is winning games. You can't change the fundamentals of basketball. The fundamentals of basketball is taller players win. And I mean, as much as small ball has been in vogue, the three-point shot's been powerful, it's still important to have bigger guys to rebound and play defense. Even if your center doesn't shoot, even if your center doesn't even score, you having a big, huge guy out there that can get up and down the court and do some stuff is really, really important and special. We've seen the advantages of having size by not having size recently. So I think he's just a very good talent, and I think that he's the right one. I think that a lot of the press about Zach Edey is not being totally sincere or honest. And it's partly because of things like, like I said, Scotty Barnes, in some ways, he had different things said about him that were trying to make people not want him to be drafted. They said he couldn't shoot, and that was the biggest knock on him. In some ways, they were trying to make Scotty look unattractive because they were hoping he would fall to a certain place in the draft. I think this is the same thing that's happening with Zach right now. In some ways, they're going to sully his reputation, make it kind of cloudy about whether he is an NBA player or not, and hope that he falls out of the lottery and maybe even the mid-teens picks or something like that. I'm telling you, it's this kind of shit. It's subterfuge. It's media shaping is what it is. So he's saying San Antonio wants the pick so they can trade it to build around Wemby. Yeah, I mean, I don't care what they do. I'm a big fan of the Spurs. If we end up giving the 7th pick to the Spurs this year, I won't be upset. A lot of Raptors fans will, and they'll be all upset. But I'll be like, this is how I'll spin it. I'll say, I'm glad San Antonio is the team getting it because I love them. I want them to be better. If our loss is their gain, well, at least it's going to a team I respect and love. And then second, this is a weak draft class. If we're going to have to give them a pick, it might as well get it over and done with this year and just give it to them. In fact, Spurs fans are calculating that if they get our pick in the 7th pick, it may not be worth as much as a pick from us next year, even if it's in the middle of the first round, because the talent for next year's draft may be that much better than this year's draft. So, I mean, there's a lot of ways we can look at this. And I'm sure Bobby and Masai understand which drafts are better than which drafts and kind of are trying to steer the ship in a way that they can kind of navigate this the right way. So, Shirkan saying, Lex, I'm rooting for Wemby to go on a winning streak to end the season. Don't listen to Spurs fans. They just want the pick. Lots of great players this year with Dillingham, Shepard, Netch, and Williams. The thing is, I was watching them in their own environment. They weren't trying to talk to us. This is just them deliberating themselves logically about what they think is best for the Spurs franchise. And some of the Spurs fans are saying they don't want us to give us the pick this year because they hate this year's draft and they'd rather get our pick next year, even if it's a shittier pick. Seriously. And that says something to me like this. Like some of the Spurs fans are kind of like, we want the Raptors to keep their pick this year because we don't like this year's draft. And they're not talking to me. I'm going in as a silent observer and looking at what they're saying in their spaces. And this is them talking amongst themselves where I'm getting this information from. This isn't them trying to say anything to me. This is them deliberating what's best for them as far as the protected pick with the Raptors and the outcome of what could happen. So it's interesting what they're saying. It's interesting what they're saying. Cool Cat saying we better be careful that the Spurs don't get Edie to go with Wemby. One plays inside, one plays outside. Remember when the Spurs had the Twin Towers, the league better prevent it. I don't mind that. If they get that, I'll be very happy. If Zach Edey is not going to be on the Raptors, the Spurs are my second choice. And I love that combination. Hey, I'm not upset with that. Cool Cat, you told me something that if that's the second plan, I'm okay with it. Right there. So I could look at it this way. The Raptors keep their pick. Hopefully we draft Zach Edey with it. If not, the Spurs get the pick. They'll draft them. All right. I'll be happy either way, Cool Cat. I don't want them to prevent that. I'm all about the Spurs being powerful and winning more championships. If they want to have another Twin Towers with Zach Edey and Victor Wembanyama, I sign off on that. Yeah, I love the Spurs. I'm saying, look, I'd much rather have Zach on a team that I root for than a team that I don't. And if that's the scenario, I'm with it. Blackhawks saying the team is fine. The bench is getting play, and this will make them stronger. Yeah, thank you, Neil, for being here. I'm going to give you a dunk just for showing up. And I appreciate that, Blackhawk. I appreciate what you're saying. I agree with you. The team's going to be fine. We're just in a weakened state. We're in a bad place currently. And you got a 22, my guy. You got the old Malachi Flynn 22. The old Malachi Flynn 22. Let's see. Angry Mexican. All right, watch out. Let's see. Gene, you've seen stuff Denver, OKC, and Bucks were building. Magic is not a team Raptors want to be. They didn't sign Shaq in 96, which destroyed them, and were awful after Howard. Just don't see the direction. Okay, you're all over the place. Like, what are you talking about? We're not talking about the Magic from, like, the turn of the century with Shaq in L.A. and all that bullshit. No, we're talking about the Magic now is what he's trying to talk about, G. First of all, what the fuck, Angry Mexican? Seriously, you're going to bring up the Magic from when Shaq left to go to L.A.? That's like 25 years ago, my guy. Like, what the fuck? Get with the program. We're talking about the Magic now with Paulo and Franz and the situation they're in and how they're rising up the ranks in the Eastern Conference, and they're looking like they're going to do okay in the playoffs. We'll have to see how they do. I don't believe in them too much. And in some ways, I'll agree with them. I don't want the Raptors to be like the Magic right now in some ways. I really don't. In some ways, their build's been interesting, but I don't think they have the legs to get a championship is what I'll say. I don't think they have the legs to get a championship. Now, the stuff with the OKC, Denver, and the Bucks, yeah, those are the kind of ways to build your team up. The way they built up the Bucks to get their first champion or their championship recently, the Nuggets getting their first championship. OKC may be destined to get a championship this year. That would be fantastic. So I don't even understand what you're saying here. You don't see the direction. I don't know. Why don't you worry about your own team's direction? How about that? There's a lot to worry about there. Yeah. Don't worry, Angry Mexican. Dap to you. I'm not going to give you strikes, and I'm not going to kick you out. I don't mind having your voice in here, but if I do come at you and I'm angry, well, just understand. Just understand. It's all good, man. You're cool, Angry Mexican. In some ways, I like having voices from other franchises, even if they're like talking out of pocket about our GM. In some ways, you give me a good chance to counterpoint you. G saying Magic is now finally good and will get better. They have good pieces now. Do you believe in Scotty? If so, then patience is needed to do a proper build out. It takes years to do that and develop. Well, I hope we fast track because our guys have good aptitude. Grady's not a normal rookie. Scotty is not a normal franchise player. So hopefully, we'll see how it goes. In some ways, I have to be patient, but I can also kind of predict that these guys will be faster than the average NBA players because they're special in a certain kind of way. Let's just put it that way. Mike's saying, I think either way, Messiah's room with the other picks and the two assets holding value at the moment, Bruce Brown and Pirtle, each could fetch a first. So I think we're fine losing the pick next year when it's 14 plus. Well, that's what I'm saying. If we lose the pick this year, we lose it next year, we're going to lose it at some point. We might as well just get it over and done with at whenever it's supposed to be. If the lottery ping pong balls say you're not losing your pick this year, Raptors, so be it. And that's really the way Bobby's gaming this. He has no control over this to an extent. It really is the 50% of the lottery balls. In some ways, this is the most open-ended opportunity. We have no idea how this is going to go. It really is. Almost 50% will keep it, and almost 50% we won't. And we really have to pivot and be ready that day of the draft, or at the day after, or after the lottery. When we find out, we may be making moves on the draft day, considering how the ping pong ball shakes out for us. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I do not want them to trade Pirtle. That doesn't make any fucking sense to me. So I know you put his name in there, but that doesn't make any fucking sense. I mean, I could see us trading Bruce Brown on draft day for sure. For sure. Fiercely saying, what happened to Coloco could have happened to another player, but from another team, different ailment. But because we don't necessarily follow them, we don't know. I'll wait before making an opinion. I know. Listen, me turning on Coloco this morning, shocking, I'm sure. In some ways, I wish it was some sort of elaborate April Fool's joke that I made up, but no. And this is my sensibility to this. Just read the article, Fiercey. And if it changes your opinion in any kind of way, look, I don't want you to hate Christian. It's not that I don't want him to get better and be happier, but in some ways, if this is how it is, and the NBA said he can't play right now for the Raptors, in some ways, I don't want him to ever come back. I really don't. If this is how it is, and this is how it's going to be, in some ways, I don't want him to show back up in the league. I really don't. And some people can be like, that's horrible, Lex. That's a young man's career and stuff like that. I don't give a shit. He's got Rich Paul representing him. That's his first mistake right there. David's saying, I'm going to take screenshots of this conversation and repost them a year from now. Laugh out loud. This is too fucking funny. Yeah, I'll do it. I mean, you don't have to. All these streams are here. You can go a year from back, 2 years back, and go see what I was saying on April Fool's Day 2 years ago. That's the fun of this channel in the archive. If y'all really want to go visit different eras of what we've done in the last couple of years, you can see exactly what we were talking about on those days. You don't need to take screenshots, David. It's all still there, and you have access to it. You just go click on April 1st, 2022, and see what I said 2 years ago. Click on April 1st, 2023, and see what I said a year ago. And yeah, it's fun. You can go back. It's a time capsule. You can see exactly what I've been saying. And it may be crazy to go back and see how much I say things, and you're like, holy shit, Lex was so right when he said that at that point. And then maybe there's some things where you say, wow, Lex was really wrong on that one. Well, that's just what I'm doing, man. I have opinions. I put them out there. I don't know all the facts. Well, I'm going to speculate. I'm going to be wrong. I'm going to be right. That's just what I do here. That's what I do. Some people say you shouldn't speculate. You shouldn't assume, Lex. Well, in some ways, it's the way you got to do things in today's world, to kind of have critical thinking and to kind of take things not totally as they seem. If you just take everything as they present it to you, well, they're duping you. This is what I'm going to put it that way. There's somebody in the media duping you if you just take it as it comes and just believe whatever you hear. No, you shouldn't do that. That's not the way to do it. Randolph's here. Good morning, beloved Raptor Freaks, most informative gang. Easter blessings. This day was designed with you in mind. Enjoy. Yeah, happy Easter Monday. I believe it's a holiday here in Canada, and people aren't going to work. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of traffic out there for a Monday right now. Just people kind of having an easy day, and it's sunny and nice out. So thank you, Randolph. Blessings to you and the Phillips family, and happy Easter to you guys. I hope you had a fantastic weekend. Cool Cat saying ESPN announces that Embiid is set to return this week. Sixers panicking about their standings. Yeah, they're going to fuck up. They're going to do this. They're going to rush him back. They're going to mess up. Yeah. Hey, go ahead. Go ahead, Sixers. Do whatever you're going to do. They're panicking. They're in trouble. Yeah, they're in trouble. I see a play-in exit for them once again. Infamous saying, you don't want to take a chance with a player with his condition. Bosch had to retire because of it. It's no laughing manner. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. So why is Christian telling me that he's going to be back soon then? In that article, he's like, oh, I'm progressing. It didn't sound like he made any progress while he was still rights to the Raptors. Seriously. We didn't hear jack shit about him progressing at any point last summer. Y'all were asking me over and over again, what's going on with Coloco? What's going on with Coloco? I don't know. All summer league, all training camp, all the beginning of the season, all the way up to all of a sudden, well, there's some sort of panel saying he's not fit to play in the league because of blood clots. And now mysteriously his rights to our team is gone. And now he's a free agent. And then all of a sudden the news is coming out that he's progressing and that he's getting better and he's ready to make his return to a new team. His own words. That's what I'm saying, y'all. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I know you don't want to take a chance if it's life or death. You don't want him to drop dead on the court if a blood clot will cause him to die. Of course. But I mean, still, this. I don't know what's going on here exactly, but it does seem fishy to me. Fiercely saying, laugh out loud, David. If there was shady stuff at this point, I'd be mad. I'll be mad and less than impressed with Coloco. Well, that's what I'm saying. He's already saying that he's turned his back on us. Honestly, that's what I take from it. He's already imagining what team he'll go and play for next. He's not thinking the Raptors. Trust me. Blackhawks saying Coloco may not get back into the NBA without going through the G League. The only player to successfully come back from blood clots is Brandon Ingram. Every other player has faded put out of the NBA. Wow, that's an interesting tidbit of information, Neil. Well, I mean, listen, the young man, I wish him well, but I wish he wasn't with Rich Paul. And in some ways, if the Raptors don't get to enjoy the spoils of him playing in the league, I don't want him to come back and play. That's just where I am. Call me selfish, call me whatever. I'm the Raptors freak. I stand with the Raptors, and this is not good what's happened with this situation with Coloco. David saying, I'm not laughing about Coloco's health issues or non-issues. I'm talking about all the people complaining about Masai and the fans who haven't the faintest fucking idea what it is like to compete and what it takes to win. There you go. I like that. Fiercely saying, Dana, did you get a fine? Lex, she deserves a dunk for the gesture. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad she did that. You're exactly right. Dana, I'm going to give you a unprecedented 4-point play. You're getting a Muggsy Bogues 14, like the jersey over my shoulder. Yeah, you got a 4-pointer. You got the 3 and the M1 for that. That was awesome. David saying most of the casual fans have never been anywhere, done anything, or seen anything. Just ignorance, simply put. All right, David. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to argue with you. Mo saying Maestro Fresh West is awesome. Man, seriously. Mo got to meet him before the halftime show with Maestro Fresh West. Absolutely a Canadian music legend. Honestly, an underrated actor also. He was on that show, Mr. D, with Gary D, playing one of the teachers at that school. And he was really good on that show. He was funny. And he was awesome. It was his birthday yesterday. Maestro Fresh West. Celebrating his birthday on Easter with the Raptors on the court. And he said, this is the best way to celebrate my birthday, being with my team, the Raptors. He's a real one. You go, Canadian icon, Maestro Fresh West. Thank you for being at the game. And thank you for taking a picture with the superfan Mo and being just an awesome person. Yeah, he is an awesome guy. He really, honestly, I really liked him on that show, Mr. D. He was really good actor in that show. He has good acting chops. So you go. And his songs are awesome. And it was so awesome to see him at halftime yesterday. I know a lot of the people that were at the game were all about it. I know Dana and Adriana and Wendy were all about getting down to some Maestro Fresh West yesterday. Yeah, Monique got to meet him. That's so awesome. Fiercely saying, although they've been losing, San Antonio's latest games have been very competitive. Different team than earlier in the season. Good for them, as the fans have exciting games to watch. Yeah, they're coming. Every chance to beat the San Antonio Spurs in the near future was this year. And after this, it's going to be game over. They're going to get better. They're going to add better players around Victor this summer. They really haven't had a good cast of characters around him this year. And it's going to show more and more. I had predicted that Victor was going to have a change to their win-loss like David and Tim before, but he didn't. He did not. They were just as bad this year as they were last year in some ways. And that's weird because when Tim Duncan came in, he had a huge win change for them. One of the most dramatic upshifts from wins from the year before to the next year. David Robinson, the same thing. But it didn't happen with Victor. A tanking season turned into another bad season this year. And that's surprising to me. In some ways, I could see a delay of this happening, that it may not happen this year, but it could happen next year or the year after that, where the Spurs go from losing most of their games to winning most of their games. And Victor's just like that. Yeah. Mike saying, we made a couple of house cleaning moves at the trade deadline. Clearing the Schroeder and Coloco money off next year's books enables us to be able to have flexibility to get better prospects to try out. All right. Mike's selling me on the good side of things with waiving Coloco and what's happened. All right. So if we made the decision to cut him and he's just gone, so be it. Bobby and Masai are going to have the most insider information on the health issues with Coloco. And they may have made a very educated, smart decision about it. As Masai said, if y'all want to blame me for the failures of Bruno Caboclo, Malachi Flynn, and Christian Coloco, you go ahead. Those were my mistakes. But I don't understand how you can say Coloco's a mistake by Masai if it's a health issue that none of us could have controlled. Maybe he did make a mistake by waiving him to make the salary cap open up, like Mike just said. We'll have to see. If Coloco, like I said, I don't want to blame Masai for Coloco in any kind of way, because I feel like he did whatever is best for the franchise in all situations at any given time in that situation at that time. Now, if there's a mysterious recovery for him all of a sudden, I'm gonna blame Rich Paul more on that one, because he hid things obviously from Bobby and Masai, because they wouldn't waive him if they thought, oh, this is a temporary ailment and he'll be back and he can be back on a timetable. If there's no timetable and maybe they don't see anything, then they waive him. But then if there's all of a sudden a timetable after they waived him, well, that's going to look fishy. And I'm going to be pointing fingers at Clutch and Rich Paul and how they handle things. Seriously. Fiercely saying, yes, Edmo, I saw your picture with him. Nice. Yeah, very cool to see her with Maestro Fresh Wes. Blackhawk saying we use the medical exemption on Porter. Did we though? I don't think we did. Oh, on Otto Porter? I don't think we did. Nah, I don't think we did. David says burn. Carlos saying, morning, Raptor Freak family. Any updates on the Jonte situation? No, we're talking Coloco today, Carlo. You might want to start at the beginning, and you'll get the whole deets on Christian Coloco, what we're talking about today. Carlos saying, Chev has a video saying he's making $2 million a month for gambling. Is that verified? That's what Jonte was bragging, that he was making an extra $2 million a month just from his gambling or investments. His financial advice, I thought was stocks, not props. Oh my gosh, Carlo, what an idiot. I don't know. In some ways, it's like, look, guilty or innocent until proven guilty with Jonte. Okay, sure. All right, he's still innocent. I won't presume he's guilty yet. Same thing with Coloco. Maybe I shouldn't be presuming he's guilty of turning his back on the Raptors and looking forward, but I guess I have to at this point. I have to believe that he's innocent. G saying, because of the 3-shot flying all game, rebounding teams will be able to beat the teams shooting the 3 a lot. Hawks beat the Celtics mostly because they out-rebounded them. Yeah, I mean, the bread and butter of basketball is always going to be the same. Steph Curry can modify the game and change it forever with the 3-point shot. But bread and butter of the game is rebounding and defense. It's always going to be that way. So investing in rebounding and defense is important. A lot of these teams that win or in the league are tall and very tall throughout all positions. In fact, they value tallness at guard, at forward, at all positions. Why do you think the Celtics went and got Porzingis? Why do you think the Nuggets have a very overwhelmingly tall lineup? The Pelicans also. That's what I'm saying. It's still basketball. Tall people win basketball. And Zach Edey's a great pick, is what I would say. Yeah. Most saying Ellen posted a video. Dennis playing back in Toronto. Yes, I still watch her videos. Yeah, we saw that video. She came to the game and they gave her the red carpet treatment like she was still part of the Raptors family. And that's just the classiness of our organization. That the kids could go and play in the playroom, even though they're Nets now. It doesn't matter. They're family, and that's very kind of the Raptors organization to treat Ellen Schroeder and the Schroeder family just the same as if Dennis was still playing for us. I really do like that. All right, there's the link I'm talking about, Tucson.com. Read that article, and it's all about Coloco right now, and that'll tell you enough right there. Yeah, Wayne's saying, don't get us wrong, Lex. There is ample reason to be curious about Clutch and their actions. I saw Nick Nurse's actions, and I couldn't understand, so speculate away. Me pointing out doesn't mean you're wrong. Well, I appreciate that, Wayne. And listen, I don't want to be contentious with you guys. I love that y'all want to stand up for the young man, Christian Coloco, against me. In some ways, that's a good force for us to have. In some ways, I don't want to believe that Christian's selling us out, but he is. And it sucks. I'm sad about it. In some ways, it's like Christian Siakam still with the 905, and he went all the way through the whole season, even though his brother got traded. In some ways, just because Pascal got traded to Indiana, Christian doesn't mean this. Well, oh, they waived me. And it's like, well, wait, we waived Marquise, and he still played for the 905 afterwards. So I don't get this. I don't get the whole rules and rights of stuff. I still feel like if this guy's going to come back and he's going to be medically cleared, there should at least be a restricted free agency for the Raptors as far as we are able to match anybody else's offer, and we get to keep him if we do. I feel like that's the only fair thing, Adam Silver, in the NBA. But if you don't feel like that's fair or whatever, fuck you. You fucks. Yeah, that's what I'll say. Let's see. Fiercely saying logical is the GOAT. Thank you for the contracts explanation. Yeah, man, he is awesome. And I want to give him some more dunks, so I'm going to give him another one right now. Mike, you're now at the Dennis Schroeder 17. There you go. You went from 16 to 17, just like that. Yeah. Big ups to Mike. We appreciate his work and his knowledge. Invis saying, please stop spreading this lie. LeBron doesn't own Clutch Sports. There is a responsibility to put out facts. He does own part of it. He's somebody who he started that company with Rich Paul. He's an owner of it. Why do you think he doesn't own Clutch Sports? Like seriously, why do you say that he doesn't own it? Let me go see. Does LeBron own Clutch Sports? I'm gonna write it into Google and see what Google tells me. Does LeBron James have ownership in Clutch? And we will see who's right here. Per ESPN Brian Winders, LeBron was found to have no share in ownership. Players are prohibited from owning interest in an agency, and LeBron's close dealings with the agency sparked questions about his involvement. Okay, wait, maybe Infamous is right, and I have been wrong in this. They said that they investigated this in 2017, and they didn't find anything to substantiate speculation that Clutch was owned in any part by LeBron. You know what? All right, I'm gonna say this. I think that it's still very clear that he has ties in it. This is what rich people do in today's society. They have offshore accounts. They have Swiss bank accounts. They put money in weird island nations and hide shit. No, he may not legally or on the outward looking in look like he has any kind of part in this. And I'm glad that you actually said this to me and I went and looked at this because it does say that he's prohibited from doing this. So the NBA does have rules about this. So that makes me happy. But for some reason, I still don't trust that this is true. I could say that, okay, all right, you were factually right, Infamous. Apparently, according to Brian Winders, LeBron does not own any part of Clutch. But why is it fishy? Why does it seem like he does? I don't know. Some ways, All right. Is it my responsibility to put out facts? No, I'm not a journalist. In fact, I'm an opiner. I can be as bullshit as I want. Seriously, I have no oath to being truthful, but I try to be as much as possible. But I don't have this kind of duty like a Josh Lewenberg or a Michael Grain should, because I'm not paid to write articles that get put in press and get these kind of things. So in some ways, it is not my job to totally put out facts. I try to as much as possible. All right, Infamous, you got me. You got me. Technically, LeBron does not own Clutch. And I will have to say that right now. And I'm going to give you a dunk for it because you know what? You're right. You were right. You got 18, my guy. You're at 18 now. And all right. But I still feel like, once again, rich people have weird ways of going around things and doing things no matter what, even if it doesn't seem like it. And legally on the up and up, it's that way. But I still feel like there's something shady going on behind the scenes somehow. So, all right, maybe I'll let go of this a little bit. I still think Rich Paul is a fucker, and I don't like Clutch, even if LeBron's not in the equation anymore, because obviously he's fucked with our franchise either way. So I'll stand on that still. Chris is saying Clutch in the Supreme Court of the USA, all corrupt. I just think Clutch is just trying for the most money for the players. Anyway, this year was a major blow to the team. A lot of body blows. Yeah. I mean, well, you'll admit the Supreme Court of the U.S. is absolutely compromised and corrupt itself. I mean, why wouldn't there be speculation that the NBA is corrupt in certain ways? They wanted Nick to coach the Sixers and not the Raptors, obviously. And well, they're going to help Daryl Morey and Rich Paul with their grand scheme of getting him dislodged from our team and coming here. I mean, seriously, the Nick Nurse stuff is enough to make things dubious about Clutch and Rich Paul. And I'll continue to stand on this hill, especially since Clutch clients continue to have weird shit around them. Seriously. In some ways, I just want to clean my hands of them, wash my hands of that agency forever. I don't give a shit if that means we don't get certain players on our team. In some ways, maybe the Clutch players that they get aren't the kind of character we want around our team anyway. So, all right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I haven't proved anything. I don't know. I can speculate. I don't think Clutch is a good organization to be around the Raptors at this point. And you guys don't understand why I'm saying that. I mean, can't you understand that? Isaac's got Kelly on blast. Tom Duke's got Canada on blast. I love it. Fiercely saying, is Bruce Brown with CAA? Remember that presser when he said he was looking forward to play with the Knicks? That was weird. He might be. I don't know. I don't care about Bruce Brown. Whatever happens with him is going to have to happen. Infamous saying there was an investigation. It would be illegal. The players union, owners, and league would sue if LeBron owned Clutch Sports. You know what? You're right. You're right. And I'm glad you brought this up and you set me straight on this, Infamous. Once again, if you can bring me something to prove me wrong, Well, you did. I went and Googled it, and you're right. You're right. It's saying that on the up and up, he doesn't have any connection. I don't totally believe it on the down low, but on the up and up, they're saying he doesn't. And this makes sense. The integrity of the game is important. Well, let's not have any cloudy, weird shit about it. And this is one thing that I've said for a couple years now. I mean, I did one of my first ever pieces on this channel about the nefariousness about that connection with Clutch and Rich Paul and LeBron. So this is not a new subject for me. I've talked about this ever since this channel started, that I've thought that this was a strange relationship and not good for the league. Blackhawk saying, even if Gary wanted to go off against Nick Nurse, it wouldn't happen. Darko has Gary on a short rotation with Grady. Darko is having Gary play for a few minutes before swapping in Grady. He likes playing them both at the same time. I mean, Gary's getting the shot attempts. It's just, you know what it is? I saw this like graphic of where people are taking shots in the NBA at this point. The mid range is dead. All the coaches do not want the mid range to play anymore. And in some ways, that's what's hurting Gary, because he's a mid range player in some ways. That's his strength. It's not even the threes. It's not near the basket for sure. In some ways, his strength is mid range, and nobody's taking mid range anymore. In some ways, Darko does not want him to take mid range shots at all. And that's hurt his bag to a degree. So that's part of it right there. In some ways, the only reason why he took mid ranges with Nick last year is because the ISO mess and the scrambling to take shots before the end of the shot clock forced him to take a lot of mid range shots in certain ways last year. This year, the play style of passing all around and people touching the ball, there's not enough time for Gary to dribble around, get to the spot in the mid range and take the shots. So in some ways, that part of his bag is out at this point. And it's not even just Darko, it's the whole league. If he could go to other teams, he'd probably have the same problem, not being able to play the way he used to. Just like last year, even. It's crazy. Fiercely saying, Lex, we trust in Messiah and Bobby, but what Angry Mexican is saying is what our huge chunk of our fan base is saying. It's our duty to inform him and provide the facts so he doesn't believe it. Yeah. I don't want to say a huge part of our fan base believes this. I think a lot of them are smart. And they understand. Some of them are dumb and doing what they're doing, whatever. I've tuned them out anyway. In fact, a lot of the fans that are around still, if they're negative, they're not really talking. Nobody's talking about Raptors right now. Everybody's kind of gone off with their lives in other directions. We're some of the few diehards that are still embedded this deeply in talking about it right now. We are some of the few. The negative ninnies have gone away and done other things. Everybody's been taken off. Casuals are casualing. And well, the diehards are dieharding, just like we are. So, yeah, I mean, we're going to do what we're going to do. And I'll always give good arguments and facts about why our front office is valued and should be still here. Seriously, yeah. Stillman saying, God help the league if the Spurs end up with Zach. I'll love it, man. If the Spurs get another dynasty, I'll be all about it, guys. Seriously. I won't hate on that at all. I will love it so much. Seriously, get Popovich's legend even more and get more Spurs championships. I'm all about it. I am all about it. David's saying that fiercely. I honestly think Bruce Brown was just confused when he was talking about Tibbs. He just got here and he hadn't played a game yet. But yeah, that was very weird. Well, sometimes those Freudian slips can actually mean a lot because they kind of come out that way. It could very well be it was a Freudian slip. And yeah, I could maybe read into it a little bit more. Well, let's see where he plays next year. If he's on New York next year, we'll know. Fiercely saying at Angry Mexican, if you look at the facts, we've been doing very good under Masai, winning record and great decisions. This year is special, and we had our main players at expiring contracts. Yeah, I mean, his overall record and body of work with the Raptors is absolutely fantastic. Most GMs in the history of the NBA would love to have the career that Masai has had with the Raptors in the last 10 years. Seriously, totally. David's saying, don't confuse that guy with facts. That's not fair. Yeah. All right, let me keep going. David's saying, hard to imagine not knowing which coach is yours just before the game time. But yeah, laugh out loud. Angry's saying, fiercely, it's cool. I'm not going to bring it up. Don't want to get blocked. If my team was Denver or the Hornets, I still feel the same. No hate. Respect. Seriously, man. I mean, you came in here kind of aggressive, but we allowed it. And you know what? You've been able to be here and show respect. And in some ways, you value being here. All right. I'm not going to block you, man. You've been coming in here every once in a while from time to time and different kinds of energy. Right now, I mean, we're very protective of our front office, obviously. And I'm not going to let you slander them in here. I will stand up for them. Infamous saying, I just read the article, Lex. It sounds like he would welcome return to the Raptors if they would have him back. What did you read, Lex? That's after. Read it in order. Read it in order. He said it doesn't sound like that's his number one priority or his first idea. I mean, seriously, I've been thinking that it was just a given that if he's able to come back, he's going to be with us. But that's not the case. And I found that out yesterday. So in some ways, this is me going through the feelings about how this whole situation has come out and how I feel like it's unfair. So, there's different ways of looking at this. In some ways, I read that article in order, Infamous, and the first comment is says, "I'm looking forward to being on a new team." So you can't read that. That's very explicit. That he's saying he doesn't. I mean, he said that afterwards. That's the same thing as I was trying to say as Nick. Nick's like, "Oh, I'm looking forward to having a break and having some time away and thinking about my 10 years in Toronto." And they're like, "Well, Nick, what about if you're going to play in the play-in? What about that? Oh, yeah, the play-in. I want to think about that too. Yeah, we're going to try in the play-in." And then you see the effort he does in the play-in. That's what I'm saying. It's the same thing. He said, "I'm looking forward to playing on a new team." Oh, did I say that? It's just like Nick says, "Oh, I'm looking forward to vacation." Oh, did I say that? And then, oh, wait. The reporter says, wait. What about the play-in? Oh, wait, Koloko, what about the Raptors? Oh, yeah. I would come and play for them. It's an afterthought. It's like the reporter caught him on his misstep and said, "Well, wait, what about the Raptors? You just said a new team." He said, No, wait, I would play for the Raptors if it was lining up and it was the right thing. Do you understand what I'm saying as far as it? It's like they're letting a little bit of the cat out of the bag and what they intend they want, and then they're backtracking when the reporter questions them about it. That's what it is. It's the same action. It's the same action. Let's see. Tom's saying, just not confining myself to this dude, Masai. That's right. David's saying, tone is hard to interpret in text. I imagine this was the comment that sketched people out. Well, it's the one that pissed me off. I mean, he blatantly said, all right, I will read it verbatim once again, guys. This is exactly what Christian said. He said, "I'm a free agent." Hang on. I'll write it from the start. He said, "I'm progressing." Okay. He said, Koloko said if he's still in the NBA fitness to play, he said he's still in the fitness to play program, but I'm progressing, he said. If Koloko is cleared by the fitness to play panel and ruled medically fit to perform his duties as a professional basketball player, he's a free to sign with any NBA team. I'm a free agent, so I'm just at home and seeing the doctors, and whenever I get cleared, I'm going to find a new team. Wherever it is, I'm going to make it my new home. It's been amazing being in the NBA. The NBA is the best league in the world, and you can't get any better than that. I'm grateful and thankful to be in the league. Now, a reporter probably said, well, would you come back to the Raptors? And then he probably said this. He said, never say no. I don't know what the future holds. I could be back with the Raptors in the future. Maybe not. He said, I love my time with the Raptors. They believed in me. They drafted me. I'm thankful for them supporting me. I'm just saying it's the order of things once again. If he said he was intending, he thought he was going to come back and be on the Raptors, he would say, yeah, I plan to return to the Raptors. He could have also just said, I plan to return to play. He specifically said a new team, and that's a tell. That's a tell right there. He could have just said, I plan to return to the NBA when my health allows it. No, he said, I'm looking forward to being on a new team. That's a totally different kind of statement. Do you not understand that, guys? You don't have to hear him say it. You can see it in the text and the words that he's saying. Yeah. I'm going to make it my new home. See, that's what I'm saying. You can't see how that sounds weird. Chris is saying, infamous. There's nothing in what Christian Koloko said. Just wants to go back to the NBA. No doctors were paid off by Rich Paul. It's in bad taste to slag a sick person who lost his NBA dream. April Fool's gag. No, Kristen, you can judge me and be pissed at me for this. Listen, I'm trying to deal with this fairly. In some ways, like I said, I'm very Raptors, and this is anti-Raptors, and it pisses me off. I don't know why there's people standing on my front porch right now. I don't know what they're doing out there. Fiercely saying, bring back Vision 6'9". Yeah, we're going to have to this summer for at least a little bit. Chris is saying, my good friend died of blood clots. That's not funny. I'm not saying anything about the blood clots. I don't think I've said anything out of pocket about his medical condition. There's nothing to infer. People die of this condition, Lex. You're not going to turn out to be right, Lex. Well, I don't know. We'll just have to see, Chris. I'm just saying, I don't trust Rich Paul. I don't trust the NBA. If they're screwing the Raptors out of their second round center, well, I'm mad about it. I'm not specifically mad at Christian. I'm not upset with Christian himself, but if he does show up on another team, he's got a big smile on his face next year. Yeah, I'm going to be disappointed. And he'll go on that list of people that are not cool with me. And y'all can like him, and maybe that's part of the problem. He's very popular with you guys.
You like the young man. You have a personal connection to something that happened from before, and that's part of what's clouding your judgment on this. I mean, it's my opinion, and I have my rights to it. You can say I'm a bad person for saying this about Coloco, but it doesn't mean I'm a bad person. That's just your own damn opinion, honestly. Carlos saying it's probably just PR, Lex. I bet you Coloco will not return anytime soon. Well, in some ways, I hope that's the truth. Seriously, at least not next year. I can get behind. All right, if we waived him, like Mike said, and we're doing it for cost cut saving move, and he doesn't show up on any team next year, and we're free and clear of what we would have had him under contract for 3 years, I'll be okay with it if he shows up after this year. But if he shows up at any point this year, in some ways, I'm gonna be very pissed off. And y'all will know I said this already. Now, what I'm gonna do is we're gonna put a cap on the Coloco subject after this. Y'all, we're getting the Coloco topic out of the way right now, just like we did Jonte last week. And I don't want to keep bringing it up. If y'all want to come back at me because of my opinions on Colocos, you don't agree with me, I'm going to tell y'all just shut the fuck up. Because honestly, I'm allowed to have my opinions on this. And honestly, look, I don't want him to have any kind of medical condition. You think I want that? No, I don't. But I also want the Raptors to be treated fairly in this whole process also. And in some ways, in my opinion, that's what supersedes things for me. Because I'm a company man, once again, I stand with the Raptors. And if it doesn't help the Raptors, well, I'm against it. And if it does, I'm for it, is basically where I'm at. So we'll have to see. G saying, although LeBron may not own Clutch on paper, Clutch has a bias to help the Lakers, like CAA has a bias to help the Knicks. Rich Paul has called the Lakers us slip. Us. He's called them us before. Biases exist in every business. Thank you, G. Yeah, just because it's not official doesn't mean there's not shady shit going on the bottom. And it's the same thing as far as with, Leon Rose's son or something like run CAA. It's such a connection. It's so fishy. Chris is saying, talk to you later, people. I leave disappointed. Wow. Whatever, Chris. You're holier than thou bullshit. Fuck off with that shit. Seriously. I'm allowed to have an opinion on this. Coloco had a prospect. And look, just because he's a Raptor pick, if things go corruption by Rich Paul, well, fuck him. I will say that. Seriously. Y'all can be disappointed in me and my turning on Christian. Well, I haven't totally turned on him. I'm allowing the future news to come out, and then I'll base my judgment on things then. But like I said, if he shows up in any other jersey in this next year, he's dead to me, just so y'all know. Isaac saying the next Raptors center, Kelly and Yak are playing NC State. Oh, the next Raptors center, Kelly and Yak, is playing NC State Saturday, April 6th. Mark it on your calendar. Get the emoji ready, Tom Duke. That's right. Purdue Boilermakers against NC State Wolfpack. Final Four. Let's go, Zach. Let's go. Most saying, keep up the great streams. Raptors for life, regardless of situation. Good times approaching. That's right, Monique. And thank you for the cutoff at 11. I appreciate that. I hope people respect it. We'll see. Carlos saying, exactly, Lex. Masai and Bobby have that medical findings on Coloco. They probably saw something long-term to cut ties with Coloco. Well, if they had the right information, I think this is true, Carlo, in some ways. Man, it just sucks. I just wish there wasn't any issue with him, obviously. It's just so out of the blue and such a mystery. And in some ways, the mystery deepens because of the things that have the outcome that's happened. A year ago, this guy, we were like thinking about the next year coming up with him as our center. And the prospects of that were awesome. Then all of a sudden during the summer, we didn't get to see him at all during the summer league, training camp, or nothing, not even Rico runs. So, yeah, it's messed up. It's a messed up situation in a lot of ways. People want to get all holier than thou and judge me for like having my opinions on Christian Coloco. Well, whatever. Get over yourself is what I'll say. Trevor's saying, big game tonight, Angel and Caitlin, 7 p.m. Yeah, there's a lot of, like they were saying last night in the broadcast, it's stupid that they're playing now and not closer to the finals. The people that made the NCAA tournament for the women's tournament, it just didn't really have the foresight to understand to try and orchestrate them to be on opposite sides of the bracket so that if they're going to play each other, it's going to be in the finals of the whole tournament. Yeah, they dropped the ball on this. And in some ways, well, we're getting the matchup at least, but it should have been probably closer to the end of the tournament. So really dumb stuff, NCAA, and how you choose stuff. Really, really dumb. But check out the game for sure. Rematch, Angel versus Caitlin, LSU versus Iowa. Woo! Big time, baby, big time. David's saying, shout out to Raymond Jacob. One hell of a fantasy week. I'd like to say I was never concerned, but I was pretty sure I was going to lose most of the week. Giddy got the job done. Yeah, you're lucky, David. Raymond was beating you most of the week. And yeah, you got a very good performance from Australian Josh Giddey yesterday that helped you get there. You edged him. In some ways, you're very, very lucky. I'm going to give Raymond Jacob dunk for this because I really am proud of how he fought this whole entire season. Raymond, you don't even have any dunks. I'm going to give you a 3-pointer, my guy. You're getting a 3, OG Anunoby 3. Because honestly, Raymond's not ever in the chat, but he was diligent in managing his team this year and really got the 8 seed and gave the number 1 seed a good run in the first round of the playoffs. So good stuff. Yeah, David was sweating. I know he was. I was watching it too. I was like, man, Raymond, can he do it? Can he pull off the impossible and beat David in the first round? He almost kind of got close. Kind of. Isaac's saying, imagine SGA MVP, Edie MVP of finals. Also, I love that, Isaac. I love that thing to imagine. So I'm going to give you a dunk. I'm going to give you a dunk. That's awesome. We want MVPs around Team Canada. Well, that's what we're going to do. Hopefully, we'll get an MVP for these guys. All right, we're going to give you a 1. You're a Sean Marion 31 guy. 31 for Isaac. Yeah. Let's see. Tom saying SGA nailed another game winner buzzer beater last night. So awesome. I like that. Randolph saying, Lex, we have to trust our medical staff with their prognosis on Koloko. They must have dealt with this before. It's turned over to the league. Yeah, it's out of their hands. It's Masai's words. He's like, it's not in my hands anymore. Koloko's not in my hands. He's not my responsibility. He's not under our duty. He's not in our care. He's not somebody that is a part of our franchise anymore. The NBA has taken him and put him in their panel of fitness. And that's just what it is. I mean, I don't understand this totally. In some ways, if they could elaborate this shit. I tried to ask this to Dan Tolzman on Raptors Tonight last night, but they didn't read my question. I said, can you explain the Koloko thing and why this happened this way? Please. Yeah. Smooth saying Zach Edey might be a lottery pick, man. Do the Raptors use a 6th pick on him? I would. Seriously, I would not. That kind of size and that kind of stuff, I would do it. Some people would say you're crazy, Lex. He's not going to be in the league. No, there's something about him, and it's real. And the history of the NCAA tournament and big men coming through like Ewing and Lou Alcindor, Shaquille O'Neal. This is one of those kind of guys. And that's why in some ways they're trying to mess his value by saying all kinds of stupid shit. And I think he is worth a top 6 pick if we do get in the top 6. So Carlos saying right now I'm apathetic on Gary Trent. He can stay or go. I won't feel a thing. Yeah, I wish I was like more fighting to keep him on this team. It's weird. Last year at this time, we were doing polls like, who would you rather keep, Fred or Gary? And it was funny because a lot of y'all were picking Gary at that time, and we ended up keeping Gary. And then part of it was because he opted in on his year with us instead of becoming a free agent. So, yeah, it's weird. I'm apathetic on it too. I wish he had done different things this year where I'd be like absolutely advocating to keep Gary Trent Jr. on our team this year, but I can't. I'm really 50-50 on it. In some ways I can see the benefits. The price has to be right. The contract has to be right. But in some ways right now, I'm just sick of Clutch's bullshit. Honestly, in some ways, I'm just sick of Clutch's bullshit at this point. Yeah, Carlos also saying picking Zach at 6 will really be a big gamble. It can go either way, but hey, we need that 7-footer to bully Wemby, as that guy is going to be a problem. In some ways, that's why the centers in history, like Yao Ming, Shaquille O'Neal, those guys are number 1 picks. In some ways, that's part of the thing. In some ways, they may be trying to sully things so that Zach does not get just plucked outright by Detroit right at the top of the draft. Like some people, it may be Zach Edey is absolutely clearly the number 1 pick in this draft, but they're trying to make it very murky. Very, very, very murky. That's what I'm saying. That kind of size and skill, in some ways, that is the number 1 pick in the draft. I don't think this would be a question. It's only the new age NBA that makes it seem like he isn't. If this was 20 years ago, he's the number 1 pick in the draft. I'm sorry. He's just the dominance he's showing in the tournament and the way he plays. That's a big pivot. That's a rare person to get in the league. And I think that's part of the reason why they're making it so murky about whether he's a good NBA player or not. I think that's part of the reason why. Let's see. Smooth saying if he does leave the Raptors, it will be to run NBA Africa. Yeah. Masai's not going to start over and try and build a championship with another team. He has a great resume and a great body work just here in Toronto. And that's the folly of all these other teams that are trying to dislodge him from Toronto. You won't get him. You will not get him. He will not come to your country. He won't go to the States, and he'll start running another team down there. I'm sorry. It doesn't even matter what amount of money you throw at him. He won't do it. It's just that his tango is in Toronto, and the last tango will be here. And he will go and do bigger and better things in other areas in life beyond the NBA after his job with the Raptors. And that hopefully won't be for like decades from now. Honestly, I want Masai to run this team till like 2050, if not even longer, guys. And Raptors fans that don't like Masai and stuff like just heard me say it. Yeah, I'm for real. And I will stand with him and fight and protect him all that time against y'all that are against him for that whole entire time till 2050. If he can run this team until then, that's what I would love. Oh my gosh, I'd love that. Nameless is here. Good to see Nameless back. If Koloko comes out and says, I want to return to Toronto, wouldn't he lose all leverage in contract negotiations with Toronto or not? Yeah, and this is the point that was brought up earlier. And that's why I was saying he doesn't need to say anybody. He could just say, I'm looking forward to regaining my health and being cleared to be able to play and play in the NBA again. He specifically said, I'm looking forward to playing for a new team. And that X's us out. That's what I'm saying. There's ways he can do it. If he's so media savvy and trained, he's a smart kid. He got straight A's in high school. He's a very brilliant guy. He's not dumb. He's a book smart kid. I know that about Koloko. So it's like he could have easily just said, I'm looking forward to resuming my NBA career and coming back and being able to play when my health's back. He didn't have to say anything about any team. And in some ways, it's like, what you're saying, we could do the reverse. It hurts his leverage with the Raptors because he's saying, oh, I'm probably not going to want to come back to you guys. I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe there's a bad taste in his mouth from the way he left. And he's like, yeah, I don't want to go back to there because Masai waved me and stuff like that. I don't know. There could be something really weird is going on. Who knows? David's saying, fair point. That's possible. I mean, that makes sense. But if you going by that logic, he should have just left it open and said, I'm looking forward to resuming my career health-wise once I get cleared. He doesn't have to name a new team or the Raptors or anybody. He could just say, I just want to come back and play. I want to get back on the court and leave it ambiguously open. The fact that he's putting out there, I'm looking forward to being on a new team. That's a calculated step, y'all. And y'all are being a little naive to not think that, really. Tom's saying 100% nameless. Masai just playing chess again and again and again. Yeah, okay. Tom's saying Masai versus Rich Paul. David's saying that's exactly why we can never know what he's actually thinking or doing. We just need to know he's more qualified than us. Masai, exactly. David's saying I can't agree that JFL is not an NBA player. What you say about him is very true, Lex. And I can see it. I just think he's going to be able to do what he needs to do to stay in the league, albeit maybe not as a Raptor. Well, I don't want him to be on our team. He wants to stay in the league. Go play for Angry Mexicans team. He can play all he wants for the Hornets. This is what y'all got to understand. When players come here, I don't look at them as whether they're just a really good player. I look at them whether they're a piece to a championship team. And he's not a piece to a championship team. In some ways, I'm thinking ahead in that way. I look at Grady Dick. I'm like, that guy could be a piece on a championship team. I look at Christian Koloko the way he was before this shit happened. I say that guy could be a piece on a championship team. I'm trying to tell y'all, JFL is not a piece on a championship team. If we're trying to build a team that can compete for the championship, let's not get guys that are not good for championship teams. And in some ways, that's what I say. Well, he can be in the league. He can play all he wants. Go play for one of the shittiest teams in the league and go get 20 points for the Hornets or the Wizards or some shit like that. That's what I say. He can be in the league, but I don't want him on my team. How about that? Because I know he won't add up to winning in the end, is what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's see. David's saying if we are actually rebuilding and our starting line is IQ, Dick, or Gary, or RJ, Scotty, and Jakob, with Nwara, Olenek, Abaji off the bench, the league is fucked. See, he likes that lineup. He thinks that's a really good lineup. I agree. It's better than people think, especially since the upside on most of those guys, because they're young, is higher than where they are right now. Scotty, Grady, IQ, RJ, they could all be better, a little bit better than they are already. And that's going to be interesting. David's saying, when was the last time a rebuilding team had a starting lineup like that? Yeah, that's not totally a rebuilding starting lineup. That's part of the thing. A lot of these guys have really good experience already, like RJ and Emmanuel, Scotty also. So in some ways, we're in good shape. Imba's saying, looking around the league, there are two players the Raptors must target, Herb Jones or Trey Murphy from the Pelicans. They would take us to another level. I love this right here. I'm going to give a three-pointer to Infamous for this one. He called me out. He called me out on a wrong thing I was saying, and I corrected myself. But now he's getting a Thad Young 21 three-pointer for bringing up something really smart. I like these two guys. They're long arms. It's no way the Pelicans are going to let them go. If they're free agents this summer and we can try and figure something out, that'd be awesome. Either one of them I would welcome on this team. I know Gerald's big on Herb Jones. Yeah, I would take either one of those guys, those Pelicans, on our team for sure. I like that. Yeah, Cowboys saying alley-oop to David. All right, we can get David an alley-oop for getting to the next round, surviving Raymond Jacob, 63 dunks. All right, let's see. All right, hopefully we're gonna be done soon, guys. Hopefully we're gonna be done soon. All right, let's see. Blackhawks saying, I estimate that we will win our last game with Washington. However, the Grizzlies will win 2 more games. What might be crazy is Spurs or Hornets might win 20 games. Yeah. I mean, we're not really looking at anybody else. We're looking at the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies, as long as they have more wins than us, we're in good shape. And that's the thing. In some ways, they're playing a team that they can beat today, I think. Or who are they playing today? I want to look at that real quick. They're playing somebody tonight that I think they can actually beat. Yeah, they're playing Detroit. They're in Detroit tonight. So the Grizzlies playing the Detroit Pistons in Detroit tonight is a game that's very winnable for them. So hopefully they will win tonight against the Pistons. I don't think the Grizzlies are trying to do anything with the draft or anything like we are. If they're little assholes, maybe they'll try and lose on purpose to hate us. But why would they do that to Darko? They love Darko. So go ahead and win tonight, Grizz. Beat the Pistons tonight. Y'all can do it. It's the Pistons. You've seen how bad they've been all year. So Memphis, have some pride. Get another win tonight. Give us some breathing room so we can break our losing streak against the Wizards next week, because we need to break this losing streak. And I don't think it'll happen against the next couple of teams we're playing, but that Wizards game is when we need to be just ending this losing streak. Seriously. And I'm with Blackhawk. We need to win that game. David said, okay. In memory of Melbester, can we just talk about the Knicks for a couple minutes? Haha, just joking. All right, David, you want to fill it up? You can get a Nintendo 64. Nintendo 64 for David. There you go, 64. All right, let's see. And Cowboys laughing about that. Cowboys saying later, Lex and freaks. Everyone have a great day. Let's go, Raptors. Man, Cowboy, I'm so sorry to tell you about the news about Koloko. I wish it was different. In some ways, I'm sad about what's happened. Yeah, they must say shitty little Hornets land. He's dead. He's dead on that one. Let's see. Country Kong's here. All right, let's see. Country Kong is upset about our fantasy team. I ended up over managing my team and it cost me points in the W. It is what it is. Excited for WNBA. Moving on. Did you see the pass Grady made to Gary in the fourth quarter? Yeah. Grady's awesome. I'm glad you're a big fan of Grady, because I'm a big fan of his too. Yeah, we'll play the fantasy WNBA also this summer. Hopefully they have it on Yahoo. I don't like ESPN. We could just do it on Yahoo. Yahoo, get WNBA. Stop being so cavemanish. And get the WNBA on the platform also. Come on now. People want to play it. The women's basketball is going up in popularity. Put the WNBA on there. Stop being sexist, Yahoo Sports, and put WNBA on your fantasy sports this year, please. Yeah, it was tough. I lost 2 yesterday, JP. Well, we're in the consolation bracket, and 4 teams remain to get the championship this year. We'll have to see who gets it. Blackhawks saying next season starters: IQ, Gary, RJ, Scotty, Yaka, bench, Simmons, Grady, Oshai, Jordan, and Olynyk. Yeah, maybe not exactly that, but we'll see. We'll have to see what happens, Neil, for sure. Cool Cat saying just came from a meeting and we're still going. Lots of catch up going on for sure. Yeah, I'll finish up soon. I probably should. Well, I'm just over 3 hours. Trevor's saying today is the time to rejoice and be thankful for the gift of life, love, and joy. Thank you, Commissioner Jay. And for that sentiment on an Easter Monday, I'm going to go ahead and give you another dunk, Commissioner. Thank you so much. You're at 18, my guy. 18. All right. Who was 18? I'm trying to remember who 18 was. Let's see. Cool Cat saying with blood clots, you never know. Some athletes are able to return. Others have to stop athletic activities. Brandon Ingram was able to return to ball. Others like Bosch had to stop. Serena tennis returned. Yeah. I mean, I listen, once again, I want to separate things here. My issue with Koloko is not that he has blood clots. My issue is not his health concerns. My issue is clutch. And if y'all can separate the two from each other, that'd be great. Because honestly, I'm not trying to piss Chris off and be like not sensitive to the issues that people have with health issues with blood clots. That's not what I'm trying to do. My issue is with the nefariousness of how this outcome has gotten to this point. And the fact that I can't get past the fact that he's represented by Clutch and Rich Paul. That is shady as fuck. That's all I'm going to say. Blackhawks saying Raptors were granted $3 million disabled player exception when Otto had the foot surgery. The NBA allows one exception. You can't get disabled exception 2 years in a row, which excludes Koloko. Well, that's informative, Neil, and that makes kind of sense. So we got the exception the year before for Otto's toe, and we're not allowed to do it 2 years in a row. That's kind of weird. In some ways, what happens if you have a lot of misfortune with injuries? It seems like a mean rule that you can't do it more than once every 2 years. That seems weird. But this sounds like this is all true, Neil. So I'm going to give you a dunk, and that makes sense to a degree. So maybe in some ways, the NBA rules, we did everything we could within the NBA rules, and our hands are tied. Maybe we should get mad at Otto Porter for having a messed up toe or something. You got Michael Jordan 23 on dunks, Neil, just so you know. David's saying, man knows his shit. Bam. Yeah, y'all, thank you. I may not know as much as I should, though. Trevor's saying the only relationship LeBron has to Rich Paul, they are best friends growing up together in Ohio. Well, that does seem shady still. I mean, in some ways, that if I was going to run rackets, I'd love to have a best friend from my background in my home state doing things that I can go call up and see what's up. Yeah. Race was saying, Lex, bring back Milbester. No. In some ways, he made a heel turn. He was very harmless and kind and very philanthropic, but then Knicks got too good and he got all big in his britches and started talking shit and talking down to us. So I had to kick him out. So no, he's not coming back. Cool Cat saying, Lex, you're right. Twitter Spaces discussions are just a handful of participants. Drama will return when the team starts winning or when Pascal or OG stop doing well. Yeah, I mean, either way, I'm not wishing for any of that. I'm tuning it out. I really am going the way of the players and the coach. I don't even do social media anymore, hardly. I'm trying not to look in comment sections because when I go and look at official Raptors posts after the game with the score, I see all the idiots and what they're saying in there. And I'm just like, all right, I don't even want to look at this shit anymore. So in some ways, I've tuned out the noise from a lot of the social media spaces, whether it's Twitter, comments on Instagram, comments on Facebook, because I've just trained myself. In the past, I would look at all that shit because I want to know what everybody's thinking, but now I don't care. There's too many bots. There's too many fake accounts. There's too many agents of confusion, and there's just too many dumbasses that don't know what they're talking about. It's not worth me to source the common man opinion on social media places about the Raptors at this point. I'll really just deal with the issues and the real things that are going on rather than opinion by a casual common person on social media and stuff. So I'm kind of gotten that point. Yeah, there's nothing to talk about. Either you dump on us or you just go away in some ways. A cool cat saying those who called Pascal washed are too old or now quiet. Had to add that in being petty. Well, you know what? I'm going to give you a 3-pointer. You're fine. I've never said that about him myself. And people that did, you fuckers. You've got a Marquise Noel 24 now. Cool cat. All right, let's see. Carlos saying Brandon Ingram has different kind of blood clots, though. Koloko probably has pulmonary embolism, so I bet he will have a long way back or won't be 100% even if he comes back. Yeah, once again, I don't want to wish this kind of bad outcomes for him. If he was in-house still, I would definitely be sending him all the positive feelings and thoughts of healing towards him. But at this point, it's dubious, and it sounds like he's moved on from the Raptors. Well, he's not on the Raptors anymore. The Raptors freak doesn't look out for him like I would if he was. And that's just basically where it is. Well, in some ways, look, it's a weird balance. I have to balance him wanting the best for him just as a human being, as a young man, and also the whole issue with the other stuff that I have for myself. So it is what it is. Cool Cat saying, Lex, we don't know how Koloko felt after the Raptors waived him. Yeah, but in some ways, if we talk to him and we let him know how things are going, you're exactly right. Well, if he wants to be upset and hold it against us, he thinks we gave up on him. Well, whatever. We did what we best we could. I know Masai had every best intention. He knew that Koloko's a really good pick, and we were right, and he came out and he was going to be fantastic. There was going to be a future for him that was going to be awesome. And we had painted it in our minds for what he was going to be for us. And I'm sure he had and everybody had. But this situation has gotten in between that. And Masai's hands were tied in certain situations. Can't use a medical exemption because of Otto Porter, like Neil just said. Can't have a roster spot, so we have to waive him. And Koloko looks at that and he's like, well, they're giving up on me. Well, I'm giving up on them. Well, that's what I'm saying. In some ways, we got part ways and cut bait with Koloko and stop feeling such sensitive feelings towards him as far as him being a part of the Raptors family. In some ways, that's what I'm trying to tell y'all right now. When I see Bradley come in on Raptors Tonight last night talking about Koloko next year, I'm like, Bradley, I got to tell you the truth. And it makes me sad and upset to tell you this because we were expecting this guy to be in our program still. That's part of why I'm upset with this in some ways. Cool Cat saying, I don't have a problem with the Koloko statement. They waived him, and they were discussions on his future. Raptors made it clear that they are building around Scotty. Koloko won't be on Scotty's timeline. Scotty's ready to win. Centers take a long time to develop. His medical condition has cost him time. I mean, I can see what you're trying to say, but still, it's kind of BS. Timeline stuff is always a dumb argument. I always think that that's a dumb argument. If he's worth having a center project coming up in our program, it doesn't matter when he's going to bloom or blossom. Even if he blossoms later on, there's still going to be a bountiful period of Scotty at that time. Scotty's very young. So I won't take that comment as being verified or kind of making sense. The timeline argument doesn't work here. Now, as far as the things about the statement and keeping things open, as I said, he should have just left it open that he's going to be wanting to just come back and get his career. He didn't have to say he wants to play for a new team because he did basically say that. He did say that. Fiercely saying, right, he is grateful Raptors drafted him, gave him a chance. We're patient with his condition, but maybe he was unhappy with our decision to waive him despite our fans being tied into his feelings. Well, if it's anything like Marquise Noel, I'm sure he felt it. Yeah, Marquise felt it himself. But this is the thing. In some ways, he's tying his feelings about his medical condition, taking him away from the game into that waiving is probably what it is. And that's not our fault. Seriously. So he shouldn't have any animosity towards our team and or against Masai. Masai had to do the business decision, just like he had to do it with Ron Harper Jr., or just like he had to do it with Marquise Noel this year. And it's just a part of the NBA in some ways. I get it. And in some ways, they got to deal with things and the way they say things and stuff like that. If he's a free agent, I get it too. But in some ways, he shouldn't have nodded that he's ready to move on from the Raptors so soon. Seriously, that door was not totally shut. And if there's any way we could come and bring him back, we would, I'm sure. But I don't think that is going to happen at this point. It is what it is. All right. Carlos saying exactly fiercely. The article was around that time he was waived too. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Isaac, for another cutoff. And David saying, in reference to your comment about Edie being drafted first 20 years ago, in 1995, Big Country Reeves was drafted 6 to deal with Shaq. Same idea. Exactly. David's just giving me more evidence. Like if somebody like Bryant Reeves can be drafted so high, and you look at him, he's way slower than anything like Zach Edey at this point. Yeah. Wayne saying, thank you for saying your vision is how a player fits into the championship team. That's been my argument against McDaniels. He doesn't fit. Neither does Liberty Freeman. Well, what's the point of what we're doing? If the ultimate vision has to have a championship feel or look to it and the understanding that these are championship type of players, that's what I'm trying to say right here. Yeah, and I'll agree with you. McDaniels is not a championship piece right now, but he could develop into one. He has the potential with his gifts that he could be. So he's different than Liberty Freeman in some ways, that way. But in some ways, do we want to wait around for a promise that may never be fulfilled? That's the argument that Wayne's making too. Yeah. Carlos saying one of the best nicknames ever, Big Country. Yeah, Big Country, Bryant Reeves. That's right, Dap David. Fiercely saying tonight, 7:30, LSU versus Iowa. Angel versus Caitlin may end up being the most watched NCAA game ever. It probably will be. It's going to break all the records tonight. All right, let's do the recap real quick. Once again, we lost the Sixers. We got swept by them this year. We've gotten swept by the Celtics, the Sixers, and the Knicks this year, and I absolutely hate it. It's absolutely stupid. My 3 stars of the game were Kelly Olynyk, Bruce Brown, and Gary Trent Jr., and honorable mention to Jordan Nwora. It is what it is. A team, we really lost at the 3-point line. They had 24 made threes. We only had 11. They shot 56% from 3. What the fuck are you going to do with that? Seriously. They did out-rebound us by 9. That was a factor. We did get more assists than them, and we did have less turnovers than them. So there were a couple of mini victories in the game last night against the Sixers. And we did have 20 more points in the paint. And I know Nick Nurse hated that. We beat them in the third quarter, 30-38. That's another small victory from the game last night that I want to toot the horn of. Once again, I've gone over ad nauseum the article from Tucson.com about Christian Coloco. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. You guys, and going in the future, we'll only bring it up if there's new news coming out about it, new details. Otherwise, I'm not going to harp on it anymore. I got it all out now as far as things. All right, this is the final 4. Get your team set up for today if you're in the Yahoo Fantasy League still, if you have that privilege. Oh, real quick, here's our birthdays for today, guys. Happy April Fool's birthday to Sergio Scarioli. Sergio Scariolo is his birthday is today. He is 63 today. Happy birthday, Sergio. Of course, our championship coach, one of our assistant championship coaches, also a great coach over in Europe. So happy birthday, Sergio. Also, I want to say a happy birthday to former Raptors point guard and analyst on TV, former coach, Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson, former Knick and St. John's product, a former Raptor playing for the Raptors in the early 2000s. It is Mark Jackson's birthday today also, and he is 59. Happy 59th birthday to Mark Jackson. So there's your birthdays of the day, Sergio and Mark Jackson, the old St. John's point guard, rookie of the year from way back for the New York Knicks. So yeah, we celebrate a Knicks birthday today on the Raptors channel because he's also a Raptor, Mark Jackson. There you go. Sergio also. That's right. Sergio and Zach. Thank you, Fiercey W Stream. I appreciate that. And Tom Duke W's in the chat. I appreciate that, Tommy. And Isaac saying Zach Edey's frame is more like Arvydas Sabonis than Big Country. Edey's rapid growth is what's special. Well, I would even argue he looks more like Yao Ming to me. Like, I'm serious. That dude reminds me of Yao Ming's dominance all over the place. And that's why there's a place in the NBA for him. Yao Ming, yeah. Yao Ming may have been slow and lumbersome, but man, he could do whatever he wanted on the court. And I feel like Zach's going to be the same way, that he's that kind of player like Yao and Shaq. And that's what we need to talk about. Yeah. Am I glitching? I better get out of here. Lexathon's a go. No, I got to get out of here, y'all. Thanks for watching me. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And enjoy your day. Happy Easter Monday. The views that are expressed on the Raptor Free channel are not necessarily the views of the Toronto Raptors franchise, the Toronto Raptors fans, TSN, Sportsnet, anybody else except for myself. And if you don't agree with me, that's fine. I'm okay with you not agreeing with me. I live in a world where I can disagree with people and live okay with them, and I'll be fine with them. But if I said anything today that pissed anybody off, good. This is going to happen sometimes. In some ways, look, the Coloco situation sucks. And I just wanted to get a little bit more out in the open about what's going on with it, since there is some more details about it at this point. You can have your own opinions about him yourself. It's a free country. In some ways, I don't want to hate the young man, but if it goes a certain way, I will start to put him in that category of dishonorable people that were in the Raptors franchise at one point and afterwards. In some ways, it may not even be his own damn fault. It may be the manipulation of his management that made it come to this point. So in some ways, look, I wish I could stand with Coloco. But at this point, if he shows up on another team, especially if it's a team I hate, yeah, that's not going to be making me like him. I'm going to tell you that right now. That's right. All right, y'all. Dap to David. And I appreciate everybody. I'll be back tomorrow with the preview against the Lakers. Raptors versus Lakers tomorrow, Scotiabank Arena. All the latest injury news and the ref report first thing in the morning, 9:30 a.m. I'll be back. All right, let's go Raptors. Let's go Raptors. Happy Easter. Let's go Raptors. Let's go Super Fan Mo. Let's go.